Fitting. Just before we went on, David told us that that was his first gig in show business, was scoring that song Sarah just played, the piano solo at the end.
Oh.
David.
Sarah's paying me royal for the use of that
Oh,
song.
God. I can't pay anybody. That's a problem.
It's a really good jingle. It
Yeah.
goes to show you that like some of the best people are not getting paid to do the big work, because that thing's as good as
Yeah.
anything you hear, right? I mean,
It's fine.
Well, and then the amount of free library music to paid commissioned music is there's probably more free music out there because people are so desperate to just kind of get their stuff out there, and
Totally.
get it used.
Totally. Sarah was showing me a clip of, by the way, how great would Crazy Robin be on that Potomac housewife clip you showed? She showed me that
God.
because the Sherman, one of my favorite point guards of all time, they don't even say his last name, which is crazy to me. Sherman
Yeah.
Douglas, who played for the original Miami Heat and then the Celtics and the Nats, but his best years would probably with the Heat, is on the show and they just say Sherman. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Saying his last name.
He
It's
has
like,
a few cameos in season 3, and then he's out. You never see him again. You go, Sherman Douglas is on Potomac. Not really.
I think they
Right.
realize that like NBA hoop heads aren't watching that show and they're not going to care about the assist to turnover ratio Sherman Douglas had in 1990. So
It's like
I'm the only one that cares.
it's like Kelsey Grammer barely was on Beverly Hills Housewife for Camille, or was it?
He was on long
Yeah.
enough to back out of the driveway and wish her well.
Yes.
Literally.
Or Mellencamp, Teddy Mellencamp's dad.
Ugh, such
Camille,
a bore.
Camille,
Yeah.
I'm mortified. How it's doing brings up your irritable bowel syndrome, Camille. Love me, Camille. Love me. How do you get that? He's from New Jersey, and he has a Juilliard accent. I love you.
Right.
I still care about you, Camille. I still care about my kids. I love you, Camille. He played Beast in X-Men 3 too. He played Hank McCoy. I don't know if you saw that.
He's like Gilbert Gottfried. He has like an on-stage and off-stage voice, just like if you see him in interviews, he's a little less affected.
That's so funny when you catch people out of that. I mean, even on Cheers, I was just like, I can't believe out of all the characters they're spinning off, it's fucking Frasier.
Yeah,
he must have been like 10th on the call sheet at the time. I'm not Cliff, not Norm. He's spinning fucking Frasier off. What?
Yeah, no,
and it worked, and it worked really well.
Somehow it did. Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is because in that show, and I'm sure David, who knows, maybe you submitted stuff. They have these musical interstitials they use, which are clearly derivative from like pop songs.
In
Housewives.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole library of, I'm sure if you went to the catalog of reality TV music, it's all titled like, bitch slapping music number 6. And like, it's not like a composer is sitting there with the film. It's like it's like an editor is sitting there with all these different musical stingers and pads and stuff, and they can just kind of create an edit for themselves, because I'm sure, like all television, they're editing to the 11th hour and there's no time to properly, and who cares, it's shit TV. So
it's
my favorite is the wacky vaginal rejuvenation music.
Yes. It's like circus music, right?
Yes.
Well, in the black ones, I guess Potomac and the
Atlanta.
I'm assuming the whole theme is like Stella got her groove back constantly with all the women, especially if they're divorced.
Well, it's so funny because the theme songs for each Real Housewives show, like New Jersey has like a mandolin in it, like it's a mafia kind of Godfather thing.
That's my favorite one, though.
Yeah, no, but yeah, Atlanta has like a they have some sort of like Motown element to it or something like that. So
I've noticed they're biting off pop songs and creating interstitial riffs and just change it just enough to not get the copyright or the fucking Maroon 5 song. I guess the first hit they had. What is it? This love is taking its toll on me. Yeah. So that riff was in it clearly was, and I rewound it. I'm like, there's no question they bit off that just enough to not get sued.
Yes, and that's what they do, is they're trying to give the audience like you know what this is, but we're not stealing it from the, you know, it's just
wink,
it's like
wink.
it's pop culture peekaboo, you know. So
you're so poetic, David. That's why, as Stephen Williams said about Holly Robinson saying about Dustin Gwen, you're like comfort. You're like comfort in this bitch.
Thank you.
I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Hooper, welcome, sir. Just picked up a dinner. I always like talking food in the beginning. A. Smith, thank you so much. You are a mensch's mensch. You will be on the Jump Street tomorrow. Season 2, episode 1, you're sitting in. I can't wait to have that as the return of Morty Seinfeld, and yet another role, riffing with Mr. Hahn from fucking Fast Times at Ridgemont High, who plays the judge. Thank you, A. Smith. Pizza dough. I will have a pizza dough thread very soon. I swear to you. I tweak the recipe all the time, Naismith. Sometimes it's egg whites. Sometimes it's more olive oil. Sometimes it's different flour. It is different every effing time.
Why don't you have somebody like film your hands making the pizza dough and we can put it on the channel?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. With Mr. Feeney's voice narrating the
oh dear Lord. Yeah.
we need to create a Deppening OnlyFans for that footage.
Let the yeast rise for 2.5 hours if you want Sicilian pizza, as I used to get in New York. Kylo Sierra Alpha, welcome, sir. There's our Crazy Robin, who I swear to God, I was thinking about Crazy Robin when I was watching the Potomac clip, and I'm like, she would take over this whole show if she was on it. It would be crazy.
Yeah, Karen Huger, yeah.
What's her name?
Karen Huger.
You know Karen.
Oh, her. I like the husband. I call him Otis.
It's Ray, but that's all right.
It looks like just he played in the NBA and in the ABA in the 70s. The Black Bill. You and David should do a fucking Housewives. I'm telling you, Sarah. Like we did with 90210, you should do you two should do a Housewives thing.
I would love to, but I don't even know which one to start with. 90210 is killing me.
Yeah.
Already. I'm 1 episode in.
You're a slave driver. 5 hours on that last one. You insisted on.
Well, it was 2.5 hours of episode.
Yeah, I know. We're not even doing a Weintraub. Well, I think we should though. At least
no, you're not. It's not yours. And no,
I know it's not mine. I just want to see Eckhouse's back hair or whatever.
You will plenty. Anyway, that is on patreon.com/wino forever. Nice. Please join us over there. It is almost 5 hours, our first episode, where we cover the first 2 episodes in season 1 of 90210. I will be recording probably the commentary for the 3rd episode, and then Arm will be joining me for the 4th one, and then I'll have that up middle of next week. We also have an announcement. You already kind of blew it, but anyway, with your 21 Jump Street announcement.
Blow this.
Okay. We are starting season 2 of 21 Jump Street tomorrow. That is a milestone. So we are committed to doing every single episode. Do you have something to play, Mr. Arm?
I do. I just want to say
we have a new intro for Patreon.
I want to say happy birthday to David's mom, who just always bringing it back to Depp, who is oddly this puts perspective on Depp's age. She's the same age as Depp. She's like 4 months younger, older. Isn't that crazy, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
So David, you went back to. God damn it! We should be playing when David comes on. We should play the Chrissy Hine. My City Is Gone.
Yeah, right.
Went back to Ohio. David went back to Ohio. Chrissy Hine's going to be coming up later in the Jeff Beck funeral. But you go,
nice.
Great son. You go back there. That's not an easy feat.
Yeah, this is the most I've gone back in a while because I was back at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and because it's my mom's 60th. I had to fly back for that. There's no way I would miss that. I keep meaning to get footage of the Brown Stadium and the Rock Hall.
That's okay. It's daunting.
No, I know. It is because it's off a highway. So I have I'm trying to film as a, I've tried several times, but I'll
How about that conversation, Sarah? David goes, sorry, Mom, I got to film footage of the Rock for Sarah.
Yeah, that I'm not getting paid for because they're too poor.
Please. Oh my God. But yeah, no, it was a quick trip, which just plays with my sense of time because yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I'm not going back until Memorial Day weekend, so I have a little break from traveling, which is good.
until 3 years ago, I thought Cleveland was in the Central Time Zone, and it's not.
No, yeah,
it's either is Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati's still in
it. Yeah, that's also Eastern.
And it's like it walks on the precipice of it, isn't it? Like a couple feet away from Central. When I was at Murray State, and it was Central Time Zone.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I mean, the fact that Ohio is considered the Midwest, I think it's also on the cusp. Like, we're not on the Atlantic Ocean by any means, but I feel like we're a little too far east to be like Wisconsin or Kansas or something. So it's a weird state for sure.
At the same time as G Canada, who I've got to get back to, I want to. I'll get to this right after this. It's close to Buffalo and shit. And I say and shit.
Yes.
It's an inarticulate Neanderthal. When you say in shit, it's just like, hi, I'm a Neanderthal. I say in shit after. And so that should tell you, no, it's in the Eastern Time Zone. Look at how close it is to Buffalo.
To New York. Yeah, it's just down 90, I think. It's probably about 2 hours away. So yeah, it's pretty cool. My sister got married in upstate New York, in Dansville, New York, near Rochester, and that it was a much faster drive than even I remembered, you know.
Yeah, what is it drive time from Cleveland to Buffalo?
I think it's about, I could be wrong, I feel like it's 2 hours.
That's nothing.
That's nothing. Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know that it's that close.
Yeah.
And I think it was G Canada that hit me to that. The Detroit somehow weaved in there. When the Bills got their regular season game moved, David, as you know, they moved it to Detroit. I'm like, what? And even I was still like, what are you doing? It's in a fucking different. And no, apparently it's very close to even Detroit. It's just crazy to me.
It's a weird hub of the wheel location. Yeah, it's crazy.
So I want to apologize to anybody, especially G Canada, who was I saw a message from him. I have had, and this is gonna sound like this martyr bullshit host crap when you come on, you're trying to get a sob story. By the way, Crazy Robin loves the intro, Sara.
Oh, hi Crazy Robin.
I am a migraine sufferer genetically. So what happens to me is it'll last sometimes for 2 days. I got a text from Monique with great gunk news, and I didn't see it until today. What I do is I burrow my head into the couch and don't come up for a day or two, and just don't even eat. I'm just like, it's nothing to do with caffeine, and I'm just waiting for this thing to go away. Just random hour and a half naps for like a day straight, and medication doesn't do anything, and aspirin doesn't do anything. Hydration doesn't do anything. It's very, very genetic.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the worst time. I'm lucky to be here right now, and I'm not giving you that martyr bullshit everybody does, but I'm surprised I'm doing this right now. Well, I feel pretty good.
Let me ride that wave with the grift. If you can please donate to the ARM Fund, which goes to assist him in his migraine relief, may not be medically, but it will make him feel good emotionally. If you can make a donation to the Deppening via Super Chat, Super Sticker, Super Thanks, or even join us over on patreon.com/WINO forever, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Kyla goes, David, it will kill off. I think you talking about the music. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Billy Corgan, they talk about the music.
Yeah.
Will kill off musicians. Billy Corgan sounded. Well, Billy got his, didn't he, Kylo? Billy got all of his. He came in at just the right time.
Yeah.
5 years later with Smashing Pumpkins, they wouldn't have gotten anything.
Well, I think that it'll kill off the hacks.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's musicians, there's creative musicians who, like any of that Housewives music could be created by AI. Because it's all pattern based, and you know, with like an actual movie where the music has to be like especially composed for it,
right?
There's variation, which is the enemy of artificial intelligence. So nice. I think that I will be safe. It's the lazy sort of fuckers.
You got a copyright. That was so brilliant. You always have some. I mean, it's crazy that mind of yours. God, am I jealous of that IQ?
Oh God.
Variation is the enemy of artificial intelligence. Did you just say?
Yes.
And you just off the top of your head like that?
Well, I've been talking about this with other people, and that kind of occurred to
me.
You
pre-wrote that ad lib.
Oh. Yes, exactly. Like Mark Harris.
And nevertheless, That's really well said.
Thank you.
G Canada. No, Sherman Douglas G Canada is actually from Washington, D.C., but he went to school, obviously, at Syracuse. He's a huge college superstar. And he was good in the NBA. It wasn't great, very Blaylock-esque, but he was solid. He was not the most athletic point guard, but he did the most he had with the ability God gave him, Crazy Robin watching Fraser is a great juxtaposition, right? There's John O'Reilly. Welcome, sir. Hooper, G Canuck. He calls him G Canuck. That should be the name. You should change it to G Canuck, Hooper. You're
G
right.
Hoser. Yeah.
Hoser? That's what Philly 29. Thank you, sir. Arms Migraine Fund. Go ahead, Sarah. Say thank you to him.
Thank you, Philly 29. Again, if you ever want, you don't have to super chat to join the chat. Chat with us all night long if you choose to, but your donations are greatly appreciated. Same with you, Hooper, for the $4.99. Thank you.
Thanks again, Hooper. Yeah. Telez99. Welcome, sir. I don't see you making it. This is a rare cameo appearance by Telez99. Hope you continually join us. What the heck was I going to say here? So in doing so, Cleveland's 3 hours from G Canada, 2.5 from Buffalo. We are going to, I want to show you Sarah's new intro for 21 Jump Street Season 2 on Patreon. And the only reason it's on Patreon is because we can't do it. And much like, Sarah, tell them about 90210 and the music. Because
we are doing, as you said, we are doing rewatches of 21 Jump Street and 90210 currently, and probably more coming. I don't know when I'm going to have the time. But we will only do rewatches when we can play the original music. And thank you to Boff for the original music on 90210.
Oh my God, we
You're
can't
the
do it
last thing I think about when I go to sleep, Boff, and the first thing I think of when I wake up.
I jerk off to your malware recommendations.
And it's true. He sends me the pictures.
I bring a whole new meaning to Malware Bites.
His floppy disk.
He honestly, David, I mean, I'm sure you know, like the music, and this is what I'd love to have, because the LA the Southern California landscape so well. The music they play throughout. I mean, Jump Street was about 90210 is constantly playing shit, and the fact that, and I don't know the show nearly even close to as well as Sara, but they don't go 5 minutes without playing either fucking Brian Austin Green's Wigger high school DJ booth. Playing like real, like, Belle Biv DeVoe and stuff.
It's funny because I watched the first episode you guys posted, and I see that there's a composer credit, and I'm like, where is his music getting in between all the songs?
That's so true. That's so true. What exactly is he composing? Dylan? Well, Dylan's brooding rock guitar solo, right?
His Lord Byron symphonic masterpieces that it's playing behind him. Oh my God. Okay.
Anytime there's a Dylan brooding scene, you just hear and it goes to an interstitial break. Melrose Place used to, and by the way, it was to Diane D, who asked on Patreon, we are going to do Melrose Place. That's a given. There's no question.
Thank you.
I might even know Melrose Place better than I know 90210.
Thank you for committing me to Melrose Place too. in 6 years when I get through 90210.
Just so we can have my cousin on, so he can go through the Matt Fielding and Greg Evigan story. Okay. In that case, Doctor, you're fired.
I wish I didn't know that. I wish I didn't know what you were talking about.
He left it on my answer machine.
Oh.
Remember Melvin was obsessed with that? What I'm talking about is Greg Evigan played a psychologist to Matt Fielding, who's the gay character on. Very progressive too, like for them to take on the gay at the time. Nobody was doing that. That was and he wasn't a stereotypical gay guy.
They end their dates. Matt ends his date with a hug. That's not really progressive.
So his doctor was the therapist, and Matt gets the gaydar from him. And at the end of one of the sessions, he goes, "Doctor, what would happen if one of your patients has, developed a crush on you during the day? And how would you handle that?" He goes, "Well, Matt, in that case, I'd have to terminate the doctor-patient relationship." And there's a little pause, and Matt goes, "Well, in that case, doctor, you're fired." It goes to commercial.
Guest writer Mark Harris.
I'm sure Mark Harris has submitted.
I'm sorry, that's my second Mark Harris joke today. I'll stop.
That's okay. Everybody knows, especially Depp fans, all know who Mark Harris is. So this is what Sara has a new intro for the 21 Jump Street season 2, and it is in the folder.
You might have to adjust volume. I don't know what.
That's okay. It's gonna be Rodrick, Rolling Stone, and here we go. Jump Street Intro Season 2.
We need to know your file names.
It's cute.
You skipped a
Why
whole
don't
bunch.
you take me to bed and cheer me?
Yep.
What do you mean I skipped a whole bunch?
You have to go back to the beginning.
Hey, you sound like Laura Silverman from Dr. Katz right now, Sarah. Bon Jovi will say. All right, okay, ready?
Yep.
Who thinks Johnny Depp is cute?
Had you play that so I could look at him. It's almost prime
I know.
meat.
You know a chick made that, right? You can tell by all the, but they're cool poses. I mean, even like heteros will be like, that's pretty cool. You know, it's the thing about Depp, right? What was the thing? It was like, guys want to be him and women want to F him, right? That was a very rare thing male actors have who are considered heartthrobs back then.
My favorite part of that, though, and I had to put this in because it just reminds me, it takes me back to the time. If somebody was asking me that question, I would be that first girl. And they go, who thinks Johnny Depp is cute? I'd be the one going, me. And then the girls behind her are like, me.
You're so self-deprecating, Sarah. You're always tough on yourself.
I laugh every time I hear that girl because that is so me.
Your voice drops 3 octaves just like from excitement.
The crazy thing, I could name every single episode, the every second that's from, and because season 2 is so that show in its full form.
Yeah.
Depp in its at the height, the peak of his powers. And I know all the seasons pretty much equally, but season 2 is the one I think most people know the best. I feel
that was a prime cut popularity with the show. And then it kind of faded a little bit, but that's when it really hit the magazines, was the end of season 1 through
in
season
Sarah's
2.
avatar, it's his girlfriend, Amy Pearson, she lasts about 5 episodes, and she's a social worker, and he's going to do the Big Brother program, and Penhall sabotages his letter because he doesn't think Hanson's going to have time they play basketball in an episode too. That's one of my favorite scenes. Penhall and Hanson shooting 8-foot free throws in the Jump Street Chapel in the basement. They slide down the pole.
Oh my God.
And it's right after a steroid vomit by Penhall during that. And in that scene, so this is the death of Amy Pearson. It's an episode called 3.3 Seconds. And Sarah, I think you do a pretty good Amy Pearson right in that scene. Go ahead, do it.
Okay. She has her arms full of convenience store purchases. But she's making Tom pay, of course.
They're getting hot dogs. They're eating hot dogs.
Yes, but she has chips and everything else. I don't know who she thinks is waiting back at his apartment, like the whole squad. I don't know who she thinks she's feeding. But since Tom's paying, she's going to load up her arms with goods. But anyway, she's walking toward the cash register, and she sees the gun. She's Tom, and then she gets shot.
That's perfect. Amy, no. And I don't know what does she drop? It's like a bottle of,
I think there's a soda or something that
it's a huge
dramatically crashes to the floor.
In Canada, they still had glass bottles for soda, I guess, at that point.
I think they still do.
That's like an Abbott and Costello delivery. Tom.
Well, as you say that, David, they repeat that scene like 600 times in the episode. Like it is.
Theme.
Yeah.
He's reliving it.
black and white dream sequences. Good episode though. It's really
you
good.
hear Tom 20 times.
Oh,
You
God.
see Vigilante Hansen just go into like this kind of his forensic work really come out, and they're trying. He's just on a vengeance, but it's not. I thought it was good. I mean, I would have been driven crazy by that too if I thought there was something else I could do. It would have drove me crazy.
And he's
Especially
in
if I
his
was
underwear.
mocked in the paper, like, oh, what was the cop doing? He didn't, even though he had a gun on him and everything, but it was just like the guilt would have just destroyed me. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a scene where he's in his underwear because he has to time how long, what can happen in 3.3 seconds, because that's how long it took for her to get shot. Anyway, so there's a scene where, how long will it take me to put my pants on? So.
Oh, how many times you watch that one?
I put it in slow, so it was like 9.9 seconds.
That's tween porn back then, like in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's in boxers, right? And in that episode, he has the number 2 Air Jordans that came out. Remember the alligator skin ones?
Yeah, I do.
That came out. Yeah, he
I'm
had
old
those.
enough.
Yeah, those are my favorite ones. Thank you. Hooper says Sumapatrin. How do you say that?
It's migraine medication.
Okay, thank you, Hooper. I've never used that. I don't even know where you get it. Can A. Smith score me that?
A doctor.
Okay.
Start with a doctor.
Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Kipper will get it for me. Thank you, Hooper. Crazy Robin says Botox for migraines. Isn't it crazy that the excuses the vain people can use for Botox for migraines, and then the old what was the nose job one? Deviated septum.
Oh, right.
I have a deviated septum. That's why I got the nose job.
Squeeze Amber's cheek for your migraine.
Oh. Anti-migraine inflammatory juice pours out of those pillows.
Put a needle in her cheek and then inject it into your forehead.
Right.
That's so funny. Anyway, Sarah, great job. I don't know how much better that could be. I mean, you have all the.
You're going to share with everybody what you said to me? First thing you said after you watched it?
Because this is just always self-indulgent. I mean, it's just all. I go, where's the basketball scene?
Yeah, no, you go, no, you know what you should have done? It's like,
I didn't say what.
Yeah, you did. You're really good at that.
I said, you know how self-indulgent me, you know what I wish was in there. I mean, I can't, it's everybody's not going to have my predilections and proclivities in the montage. Like you're going to get the one scene's 3 seconds. Like, how are you going to know to put that in?
Yeah, how many episodes I had to go through to make that. You can suck my wiener. I don't.
Whoa! Weintraub.
You can suck Weintraub's big one.
All right, what do we got?
We have. I'm going to start with some of the news. Penhall chases Marta. There's a Marta in our thread we haven't seen in a while. I hope she makes a return appearance. Penhall's wife is named Marta in season 4.
Where's Sunflower Dragon, by the way?
I know she's been some people just dip out.
Yeah, okay.
And come back in. I would imagine. She
gets
very
busy.
She's very political on Twitter, so maybe she gets distracted by taking the Green Party and just take it into the next stratosphere. which there's a ton about politics. So I want to play. So there's a lot of stories here. I'm going to start with, in case Bon Jovial shows up, I'm going to save Jeff Beck for last. So I'm going to start with Camille Vasquez again, and so get away from the trial. This is an interesting story, just kind of to talk over for us. And this is just kind of okay. I wanted to use the original author of it is Radar Online, and everybody drafted onto it. So this is tell me if you see this.
Yep.
Okay. Johnny Depp's ex-attorney Camille Vasquez getting the cold shoulder from mad NBC staffers after she's hired after layoffs, sources say. This is Radar Online. There she is. As you know, we talked about a little bit. She was hired by NBC as a, quote, legal consultant, as they tend to do, and they chase fame on these, on these networks. They're not going after, the person who represented you for food poisoning in Patchogue, Long Island. They're going after names,
right,
as was wont to do in show business. So here's the story. This is by Radar. Adam Levy. Do you remember Adam Levy, David? from the Gunk Mix, who gave us.
He gave you the red list, right?
No. Adam Levy was when we first started doing Radio Gunk. I actually I'm jerking myself off here, but the Chet Hayes story, Tom Hanks' son with Howard. So I found this. Right. I found this tweet by Chet Hayes talking about killing Howard, and I just was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" Because I follow him on Twitter, and he's going, "You Jerry curled cunt," and he had this Twitter rant, and I sent it to Adam Levy. He wrote an article about it. He covered the whole thing, and then every news source drafted onto it. NBC, CBS, TMZ. TMZ is the only one that didn't touch it. Everybody else went after it. And it was this huge story, and Howard avoided it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And that was the first episode of Radio Gunk.
I do remember that. And he's still alive, right? I know on the red list there was a TMZ person who is deceased now that could not be mentioned on the show or something.
Well, as that transpired goes on, he kept reporting on Howard stories and Howard's hair. So he was posting prank calls in Radar Online articles by people on our Gunk forums and stuff, and mentioning us by name and posting links to prank calls, and how it was really a Howard hater community had established. And he was writing a story about how all the fans have turned on him. And this is 2004, Adam Levy, and he was
there is a TMZ guy that he's referring to that's on the red list who passed away. It's not Adam Levy; it's another guy.
It's like one of the founders or something.
Yeah. I can't think of his name. I used to know his name.
And so he was relentless, and the articles were so thorough. Such a super fan, right? Not like a novice. This is like thorough insider shit, and it was so hard hitting. And Radar Online's a big online publication.
Yeah.
Howard had him fired. Howard made a call to Radar, had enough people, had enough agents, had enough connections. He had him fired. Adam Levy was then picked up by Daily Mail about a month or two later.
See, what I would do is if I was Adam Levy, I would get representation with Buchwald and Associates and then have protection for the rest of my life,
Yeah. I don't know, I would love to see how that conversation, but he confirmed with me that he was Howard had him fired.
I think Adam Levy wants to do more than just be appearing on the new Love Boat. That's what all Buchwald's clients do.
That's true.
Really talented guy, really funny guy, great guy, menschy guy. He's by you, Deppy, too, in Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah, really. I haven't heard from him in a while. I gotta definitely kind of track him down again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he used to write for Radar, and every time I see Radar, I just harken back to that. So the jury is not out on Johnny Depp's former star attorney, Camille Vasquez. The staff at NBC is already getting the newly hired on-air legal analyst the cold shoulder, Radar Online has confirmed. There's a picture of her, I guess, doing an NBC interview with Savannah Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie, I should also say, her husband is part of Depp's legal team, consultant. So they were tapping into his knowledge all along, and Guthrie had to admit that when she interviewed Amber Heard.
So I was wondering, why is Camille not at CBS? Oh, now it makes sense.
Poor Camille arrived at or ABC, Disney.
Or ABC, right. Yeah.
Poor Camille arrived at precisely the wrong time, a source spilled, questioning how the network got the funds to hire the powerful lawyer as it was preparing to slaughter staff with a massive layoff. The week she arrived, double digits of workers, apparently 75 is the number, double digits of workers were fired, yet NBC found the money to hire a 38-year-old beauty. I mean, she's attractive. Let's calm down with the beauty queen. She's just an attractive lawyer.
Regardless, that's a weird description.
Yeah, it's like passive aggressive hyperbole to make it sound like
she's only hired for her looks.
She's good looking. So what? There's
right.
a lot of good looking broads. Johnny Depp's ex-attorney Camille Vasquez shunned by mad NBC staffers after she's hired after layoffs. This is a caption. Depp's turning in culture. Okay, they always redundant.
Yeah.
The tattletale. Here we go again. The prose hyperbole. The tattletale said she's not popular with employees, adding that if it weren't for her Depp victory against ex-wife Amber Heard, she'd be a nobody. Now, if you're a lawyer and you're not connected to a celebrity, you're a nobody. That's the lesson I learned here.
Nice.
Camille wouldn't have been booked as a guest before working for Johnny. Of course she wouldn't. And now she's on staff. And folks around the office are mad about you, the source stated. After she successfully defended Depp in the defamation trial against Heard, having scored a $15 million verdict after it was reduced to $10 million, Vasquez's career went into overdrive. As Radar Online reported, shortly after the win, she was named partner at her law firm of Brown and Rudnick. When she became a household name, she became a household name. Vasquez obtaining even more celebrity clients, including Kanye West, the rapper who legally changed his name to Ye, hired Depp's attorney to help fight in the ongoing divorce from Kim Kardashian. The union was brief. Vasquez dropped the Grammy winner as a client after he flew off the rails and refused to apologize for anti-Semitic remarks. The attorney in her law firm said Ye only worked with her to retract the controversial comments, but he wouldn't budge, so they fired the superstar musician. According to insiders, NBC wasn't the only network vying for Vasquez. At least 3 national news divisions had inquired about her reception to an analyst or contributing role, they stated, of course. Interestingly enough, the network faced backlash for the hire, not just from the bitter employees. Industry folks called out NBC's unethical coziness. That's interesting phraseology there.
Yeah.
After Savannah Guthrie came clean after her husband Michael Feldman worked as a consultant for Depp's legal team in a 6-week trial against Heard. Okay, we'll cut it off there. So thoughts, guys? I mean, my first thought is this, and you're working in show business.
Yeah.
It's not, and we talked about this with David before. It's not fair. It's not about ability. It's not about merit. It's about fame. It's about looks. It's about cronyism. It's about nepotism. That's the way it works. If you work in television, NBC employees, I'm sorry you got laid off, but you know better than anybody does. That's the way it works. It's not
Well, and
about
every
skill.
celebrity lawyer that is hauled in front of a television to comment on a current trial has a connection to a famous legal incident in the past. So she's not the first one, and obviously that's why she's there, because of Depp.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying, like, you know, it's like other community theater actors complaining, like, well, Meryl Streep wouldn't be interviewed if she hadn't won an Oscar. It's like, well, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Mark
You're correct.
Garagos represented Scott Peterson. That's why he shows up once in a while
Yeah.
and makes a lot of money.
Right.
Great.
Well, it's all about optics and fame. It's literally called show business. It's show. It's about fame. It's a shame. It's a shame, you know, because I mean, there's people that get elevated in show business simply because of, like I said, nepotism, cronyism, and things that aren't about ability. But that's how this works.
It's a who wins business. It's not a fair business.
It isn't a fair. It is not a fair business at all. And who knows? Maybe she's going to be fantastic about doing it. And the charisma she exuded in the trial is kind of what they're going for. You have to believe what she's saying.
Well,
And she'll
if
really
she's a legal analyst,
and she'll really only show up like twice a year. Who cares?
I only have one footage of her so far. I've looked, and I might have missed some, but I'm gonna have to track that. Maybe next time we'll show. I was supposed to do that more. The migraine stopped me, but the NBC has how many things now? NBC News, MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, NBC. There's like 6. Peacock, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
God damn.
Bravo.
So that's probably why they're bringing in all these people. But the fact that they have all those outlets and they laid off 75 people is another thing all entirely. That they could have layoffs with all those streaming services.
Yeah. I think that all the networks right now are really afraid of YouTube. I think YouTube is really kind of overshadowing the ad revenue that, like, YouTube can bring in more ad revenue than sometimes the networks or their streamers. So I think that they're getting really nervous about that. Especially
the you know, the ABC, CBS, NBC, Foxes of the world, because like you said, like there's kind of like they don't want to mention how, like, it's perfectly what you said, how they're getting destroyed in views. Like, I always go off on the late night shows all the time. Guys, I don't know how they find it lucrative to pay Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, especially, Stephen Colbert, who actually beats them all, Steph Myers, James Corden. I don't know how they find the money to pay these guys or why they would. It makes no sense. Paying these guys 8 figures when they get, I think they're getting under 1 million people a night.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I mean, it's funny because I know sometimes on Gunk we talk about like Kimmel as if he's like in a higher stratosphere than like Howard, and he is, but not by much.
By networking.
Yeah.
No, just by networking, because he's in the mix and he puts the work in to network. He's a bon vivant. His whole life is about getting around famous people, and Howard's is too. But Howard's such an elitist, just has, that he's elevated himself, that he wants Kimmel to do and he's lazy too, so he wants Kimmel to do the celebrity legwork.
And my theory is Howard is actually very awkward in person with celebrities. Totally. I think that, when he talks about in interviews like, oh, I'm very, I'm always in my head and all this stuff. He thinks it gives him a cool factor, but it's just an excuse for the fact that he's awkward and kind of nebbish around.
He does think it's a cool factor. It's exactly right.
Yeah.
Crazy Robin too. I mean, we wouldn't even Crazy Robin's. Yeah, for sure. I was talking about Depp's jawline, Sarah. And the cheek, that jawline, ooh-wee. Well, what she says is like, we wouldn't even be in this situation if it wasn't initially. I was thinking about this too the other day, about Depp's looks is kind of what got him in the. If he comes at Hollywood and he doesn't look like he does, he's just a good-looking young guy in his 20s. If he doesn't look like that, he ain't having this career. Like, regardless of how talented he is, you think Nicolas Cage's agent's going to come after him if he looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman back then?
Right. Yeah.
As talented as Philip Seymour Hoffman is, he's all about, there ain't no looks getting him anything. It's clearly about talent. With Depp, initially you got her agent because you look a certain way, and then it's what you do with it after that. He chose.
Yeah, I mean, once you get in the door, then you're part of the landscape. I used to worry like with my music, like, oh God, I don't see anyone else who's doing my kind of music. And someone said, but once you're in the landscape, then you're part of it. And then people can look to you as the proof that you can be hired for your talent,
Yes.
So.
Yes. And a lot of people got a false, Depp's definitely inspired so many young actors after him from Generation X, even still before him. It's like, well, you can't, initially you have to kind of look like him in order to get in the door. Right. You can try to be as eccentric as you want. There's only, Daniel Day-Lewis only comes around, and he's a good looking guy. So you forget about that. Like Billy Crudup and these guys who are kind of chameleons. They're good looking guys initially.
Right.
It's an optics.
And the other thing about the Camille criticism is they're talking like she's a Kardashian, like she doesn't deserve to be there. It's like you have 8 weeks of a trial where she was a lawyer. She actually had a skill and won a case with her skill. Like, why does that make her not deserving to be there? It's the most
condescending, insult to her, because she also rose the ranks in a law firm that's I think there's 10 different affiliates around the country, and they chose her out of all the people they could have. She's not from Washington. She's from LA, Southern California. And if you're mildly attractive, it kind of works against her in a way. And again, like you said, it's her skill. I think her charisma probably is tantamount to, if she's attractive, it's all arbitrary. She's a good looking broad. She looks like a slightly younger Eva Longoria.
Yeah.
Maybe normal looking too. She's but I think she's charisma. I think she looked like someone you can trust, and you can't teach that in any law school.
But people will because she is attractive, people who don't want to acknowledge that she has a skill set will always turn to that as the reason that she gets anything in life.
Yes. She probably hasn't heard that until now.
Yeah.
I mean, there are attractive lawyers all over the place, and I don't know who knows on Brown and Rudnick if they go, oh, well, Camille, I think Ben Chu's sweet on her. That's the only reason she got elevated. I mean, she might have heard that, but no one's going to admit that in the actual firm. People talk shit all the time, and who knows what went on, when people go out for happy hour with John O'Reilly, by the way, was the first choice for Camille's spot, and he turned it down.
Yeah, I mean, she's Amber's age, and they wanted her to. I mean, it's an age and gender thing. I mean, as you've said here before, like they wanted someone going after Amber that was a woman around her age.
I was proud of that too, because she then later, after the trial, like admitted that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
If I'm the same, she's like, we wanted someone in her demographic that doesn't believe her. That's a
Right.
female. That's very important to, you know, if I'm not believing you, who is? Because
Right.
I'm exactly, you know, kind of who should be. And I'm, you know, she's very progressively left wing, so she should be in that kind of like feminazi group. And I don't believe you. So if I don't
Yeah.
believe you, who's believing you?
Right.
Sara, you still with us over there? How you doing?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
No, I just sometimes.
Sorry, I'm talking way too much.
Fine.
No.
Please.
What I'm
Please
doing
continue.
is no. What I'm doing is I'm trying to. Sometimes we've had some technical difficulty in making sure
Right.
we dropped out during a 90210 like 6 times.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the
Thank
editing was
God
fun.
that was pre-taped. Thank
Yeah.
God that was pre-taped, because Sara had to do all his editing at the end.
Right. Right.
Editing a 5-hour show is a lot of fun on my one day off on a Wednesday.
Sarah.
John O'Reilly goes, off topic. Have you guys read about Don Lemon's connection to George Santos? They're sharing
I haven't.
Botox. Is that true? Is that true, or is it a joke?
No, I don't know.
Either way, it's funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Brendan, yeah, rip Leaping Lanny Poffo, the poet, the wrestler. I think he's Randy Savage's brother. He passed away. There's Brendan's right out of the gate, right, Sarah? It's
Hey,
always a
whatever
wrestling reference.
brings you to chat. That's fine.
Right out of the gate, he finds a way to incorporate wrestling into everything.
I'm happy I know who Lanny Poffo is. So
he used to do poetry in the beginning of his matches. It's the funniest thing ever. I used to be good at mocking that. I gotta maybe go back, and he used to write these just, and then as he was doing the poem, he would get attacked from behind in the middle of the haiku.
Yeah, I remember that.
He would try to make like bad rhymes. I don't know if you know Ernie Johnson from TNT. He does that now.
Of course.
But it sounds like he's ripping Poffo off.
Mm-hmm.
Sexualizing professional women. Exactly, Crazy Robin. So I don't know where this Camille Vasquez thing goes. I doubt she's going to be. Lawyers are tough. I don't think she's going to be intimidated by it at all.
But when they have a celebrity lawyer, they don't bring them on, 3 times a week. They show up maybe once every 6 months to comment on a big trial.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's news to these people, but I think it's just a jealousy thing.
You gotta remember though. Technically, the media, they're not really happy that he won. So they're still kind of taking shots when they can. And in this case, they're going to take the shots at his attorney that probably won the case for him.
John O'Reilly has a good point here too. And this is a huge thing she did. And it was just like, it's one of the, I guess, skills you have as a lawyer is to bring in the right witnesses. And I say this again, just from a basic bitch. How you doing, Gungadin? Welcome, sir. Standpoint. And I said this 1,000 times during the trial. Me with it is all about charisma and do you believe the person and optics and finding people who you trust. And that's a skill. You can't teach it at any law school. And so Camille knew that Dr. Shannon Curry, as John O'Reilly points out, was someone that, oh God, that Heather Locklear, Miss Perfect delivery she has, but she was also very likable and believable and had her shit together. I've never seen someone speak that long and never stutter or pause.
Right. Going back, if you watch, like I do, I don't think anybody else does, but you watch like old Ricada streams of that day she testified the first time and she put her glasses on. You hit the live chat button to read what people were saying as she put her glasses on. It was like cavemen getting together, and it's fascinating. But she became a star the second she put those glasses on.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You ever see Harley Quinn's alias, Dr. Harleen Quinzel? She's a literal criminal psychologist in Arkham.
One of my least favorite characters, by the way.
I know, I'm just saying, but that's exactly what she looked like before she became Harley Quinn.
Yep.
She had the glass. It's a crazy. I said it during when we were watching it. I can go back and show 100 times. Like, I can't believe this, and that's what it came off to me. And she actually. Yeah, I thought I knew histrionic personality disorder, and I do know it really well. But she gave such a succinct, clear, what a psych 101 lesson she gave on shit like that. I think when people were watching, they go, "Oh my God, I know chicks like that."
Mm-hmm.
Histrionic, you couldn't have laid it out, and she did it.
She spoke human.
She spoke human, right? Everybody can everybody can understand her. Everybody watching that thing. Integral. I mean, it was just like instant superstar, Sarah. You're right. I mean, in 5 minutes, you just saw. But it's also like the naughty librarian thing. You know,
it's also though you got to remember who Camille and Dr. Curry were sharing a courtroom with, and were often going up against Aunt Bonnie. You're gonna look great, either
by comparison.
By comparison. So you have Aunt Bonnie with that shag hair, questioning Dr. Curry with the glasses on about muffins. So the cavemen in the chats around YouTube took that Dr. Muffins thing and ran with it.
Oh my
so
God.
The same with the Camille thing. Camille taking down Aunt Bonnie in the that rebuttal was genius. That's what made Camille a star. It wasn't even the cross-examination. It was that rebuttal. And Dr. Curry became a star just taking down Elaine. It was great.
The brilliant Gunga Din has a 90210 reference for you, Sarah. If you can read it, I don't know.
Okay. Name my story about. Yeah, there you go. Hey, is it a news? Is it the Blaze?
Yeah,
is that the newspaper? Is that the paper that
right,
all the parents read?
It
won an award, a national award, which isn't a thing. Okay.
Gunga Din makes a 90210 reference. He writes, "Sorry I was late. I was getting my story about a toxic waste in my school newspaper, which is a Gabrielle Carter's Jason Priestley reference."
Did you go undercover in the school cafeteria? That's where the Zuckerman won a major journalism award and got into Yale.
Zuckerman. You mispronounced her name deliberately, Sarah.
I can't stand Zuckerman.
You sound like you're from the valley, man.
You know, I break down every character. I don't like any of those characters. I just love I love how ridiculous it is, and I can't wait. I love the show so much.
Can I the next time we do it, hopefully David's on when we do this, the 90210, the next one we do that I'm on, I give you a the Saturday Night Live sketch when Priestley hosted it, and we'll go over that. It's like 3 minutes. It's like
because you're gonna be on for the episode where Brandon loses his virginity in the room next to his father.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Eckhouse is in the. If I wanted to hold that, I would think about my dad's back hair.
And Eckhouse is basically nothing short of standing there with his ear to the wall, listening to his son get it in.
Was he really? Was he?
Yeah.
Oh my God! How do you remember that?
Pumping his fist. Yes, that's my boy.
Oh my God.
Well, I was watching the first episode you guys did, and like at the very beginning, the sister comes into his bedroom in the morning, and like there's all this like weird.
And they were banging behind the scenes.
Were they really?
Doherty and Priestley were banging.
Like right out of the gate, right? Like right out of the. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Sorry.
Brendan goes, yeah, me too. I'm not a fan of Harley Quinn, Brendan. You and Brendan are the same person. I'm not either, Brendan, but to take it back to Depp, guys, can I just no. Oh God, I'm having a fucking window. I hate Windows. They're telling me I gotta update. Let me just fucking delay this.
Okay.
You can still hear me, right? It just gave me this weird warning on the bottom of my screen. Jesus Christ. How do I do this?
Calm down.
No, I don't want this to shut down on us, you know? I can't calm down until Windows update. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Restart now. No, I'm not restarting now, motherfucker. How about 3 years from now? First when Microsoft, tell me what these updates are doing. Tell me now how this is benefiting us at the Deppening and Radio Gun. Then maybe I'll update it in the middle of a show. I think I got rid of it. Thank you. Cool. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Turn off your updates, as the great Rakdar told me from Radio Gunk. Turn them off. Turn them off.
That's a good
all
tip.
The time. So back to Harley Quinn. So Depp's daughter, Lily Rose, her best friend, is Harley Quinn Smith, Kevin Smith's daughter. It's crazy, right?
Oh, right.
The yoga hosers clip I play at the end of this, where they're playing. Yeah, that's Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn. Crazy, right? You can always bring it back to Depp.
You've never seen anything more disturbing until you've seen him in person in his jorts.
Oh, Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah, he's popularized the jorts.
I was like 3 feet away from him, and he's grotesque.
I bet.
Oh, God, you met him?
Yeah, Everett, Washington. They opened when I was selling this shit They opened a Funko Pop store. I went up there to get the rare ones so I could sell them.
How long ago was this?
I was married. 2017, 16, 17.
Oh yeah, they were. That's like kind of when Yoga Hosers came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wish you knew that. I wish you knew about that movie. You could have screamed it out, and he would have got your full undivided attention. Then yelled Lord Byron and all that. I wish I was there. I wish I was there. Oh man, unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately. I think I'd probably get along with Kevin Smith. I think I would. I got enough in common with him. I think.
Yeah.
Depp and comic books. Blah blah blah. But yeah, Harley Quinn was created for the animated series. A lot of people don't realize that. It's not it didn't start in the comic books. It started in the animated series. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini created it for that before it was ever in the comics or the movie. It's crazy to think about that, how it started. So what the heck was I saying? Talk about where was I? Next story.
First, thank you, Diane D, for the $9.99.
Yeah, Diane, we brought you up before. We're doing a Melrose Place segue from 902. She loves Count on it.
I'll be 60 when that.
You'll be the same age
I'm not even exaggerating.
You'll be the same age as Gabrielle Carteris is the start of 902.
At the slumber party in season 1, she was 60. Yep, yeah.
So rewind that, Diane, if you didn't listen to it, because we bring you up in the Melrose Place and stuff. And Sarah's threesome, Johnny Depp and Luke Perry.
No,
the
just
Walker,
one.
Right, Sarah?
Probably Johnny Depp and Arm would be my threesome.
Brendan goes,
that's sweet.
Brendan goes, my locker was Carmelone, Xavier McDaniel, Kevin John. I'm trying to remember the rotation. It was just in a 99% white school, maybe more. My entire locker was black guys, which is great.
Right. Went over well.
It was all NBA players.
And wrestlers in their little trunks and
I never
oiled
did
up
that.
hairless bodies.
That was my bedroom in middle school. It was wrestlers and
that's worse.
Speedos. It's so homoerotic. But as a kid, like you don't even catch it. Like you don't think of it as how homoerotic it is to have wrestlers and Speedos and hanging on your wall. Rocky Johnson in a singlet over your bed.
You just want to walk up to that singlet and snap the strap and go, "Rawr." How'd you do it?
Gunga Din never runs out of Gabrielle Carteris jokes. He goes, Andrea's going to be collecting Social Security by the end of the Security is.
Yeah, she is.
Brenda goes, figures Kevin Smith would name her that. Okay, so the next story is I'm gonna shill in case Bon Jovi shows up with Beck, but we will do Jeff Beck, the Jeff Beck funeral. The next story is Amber Heard apparently surfaced somewhere in South America, I think. So let's see. Tell me if you see this.
In what condition?
Well, you'll see.
Oh, okay. Go.
Everyone's favorite website, marsa.com. You're right after.
That's my homepage.
Right after Yahoo. It's everybody's homepage. Amber Heard shares an intimate dance with film crew member who worked on her movie In the Fire. So she's getting. I guess this is like some kind of independent thing, as we predicted. I want the reality show. I want the reality show.
Can you make that bigger?
So bad. Yes. That's what she said. How's that? Is that too big?
Can you expand the screen?
Yeah. I just want to read the headline.
Oh, okay.
Amber Heard. Okay, and I will expand it here. This is her dancing with a film crew member.
It's appropriate.
Amber, you've done it again.
Okay, so you want to know what's really going on here?
Yes.
He's gay, and he's just reaching onto her.
What, because he's wearing skinny jeans and he has
she
great
knows
choreography?
That she gets filmed dancing with a man.
Yes.
It's going to hit the news.
2022 was a tough year for Amber Heard. The cameras are focused on her every move as she went through one of Hollywood's most high-profile divorce settlements ever with fellow star Johnny Depp. The year actress seems to be letting off some steam as she tries to put the events of last year behind her. In a recent video published on TikTok, she can be seen doing just that. In the short clip, Heard can be seen dancing with a young member of the In the Fire film crew to the late American Tejano singer Selena hit song Como la Flor. Heard caught the eye of many TikTok users who were quick to point out her impressive rhythm and dance moves. As
what else is she doing?
Magic Mike 2. You want to see the rest of those moves? She kept perfectly in time with the young man who seemed to be giving her a quick lesson in some spicy salsa moves. So did Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Heard's dance partner in the video is Bernardo Triana, who shared the video via his TikTok account with the caption, "La prometo es puedo aquí este el video el bailando and con Amber Heard," which can be translated as promised, here's the video of dancing with Amber Heard. So this movie's called In the Fire. It is going to beat Avengers 1, 2, and 3. I guarantee it.
Can I push her there?
I am sure I have sexted with the man she's dancing with, so I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
John O'Reilly, thank you, sir, for Arms Costco.
Yes, thank you.
That reminds me, as the migraine clears up, it's time for a Costco hot dog. As I bought the Kirkland Super Pack, which is 64. You know, it's funny. It's almost tantamount. The price of a Costco hot dog, if you buy the frozen kind, it actually is the same price if you just bought it from the
really?
Yeah, the what's
from
the term?
Vendor,
Not the
the freezer section?
No, the concession stand has got a term for it.
Okay, God, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I blanking.
The food court.
Food court. Thank you, Debbie. Yes, food court. Thank you. If you bought I don't know what it is, 16 individual hot dogs with a soda from the food court, it would almost come out to the same price as buying them frozen. Like you're supposed to save money when you buy it, but it's actually less. The pizza's a great deal too. You can get an everything pie for $9.99.
I don't think you can anymore. I think it's just cheese now, and cheese or pepperoni.
Oh, they don't have sausage?
No, I don't think they have the Supreme anymore.
The last one I had was just pepperoni, so maybe you're right. And Crazy Robin goes, "Whose bed did Amber crap in this time?" Yeah, the burrito crap. And I don't know, what's she gonna do? Right? They're giving her offers. People from the infamy from her, they're gonna throw her in stuff. You really think that movie is gonna do anything? I mean, she has, like we stated in the trial, she's gonna have these like Saudi Arabian princes that have, like, it's what Elon Musk did to her, for Christ's sake, right? Elon Musk contacted Robert Rodriguez, and that's how they hooked up. That's what you can do when you're rich or famous. You can just call a fucking director and go, "Hey," or an agent, go, "Hey, hook me up with your 10th on your call sheet."
Yeah, right. I agree with you about the reality show. Like Ryan Seacrest he's really missing a gold mine there. Like
what are the odds, guys? She's been contacted for that already.
Could be in the works.
You'd watch it, Sara, right?
No, I would not watch it.
Bullshit.
I don't need to watch her reliving her testimony in interview segments. I don't need to see that.
You wouldn't hate watch that? I don't believe that for a second.
No, I have no interest. She's dead to me.
You're not dead to her. I know that.
I'm so tired of her. I'm so tired of her. I want to move on.
Yeah, sometimes, but not in a reality show form. I wouldn't be. I want to see her world. I want to see her dad dogfighting. I want to see it. You know, all the Deptford wives all claim, "I'm not watching them. I'm not giving her any bullshit." You know, you're all going to watch it. Bullshit.
Yeah, she's infamous in that world. Yep. Yeah,
they know it. They know it.
My favorite line of hers in the Savannah Guthrie interview is she's trying to be so profound. Like, this is her soundbite. Like, how could people believe the man who convinced the world that he had scissors for hands? And it's like, he's an actor. I believed it because he's in a movie. Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Thought she had something there.
I would have, if I were writing for her for that interview, I would have, if I was on that. By the way, how brilliant was the thing I said? I'm just kidding.
Oh God, he means that.
Is there anything funnier than bragging? Like when you like delusional bragging, or
yeah.
like that's what I used to love about Trump, was just him bragging.
Yeah, right.
Before all that, I just listened to him. I got on, Donald Trump Jr. and Lisa Lampanelli did a show on Howard 101 once. And I called in, and I'm like, I love your dad. Like, the thing I love the most about your dad, I can listen to him brag for 3 hours.
It is really funny.
Yeah. I go, did you ever just sit there at the dinner table and just stare at him bragging for 3 hours? And he's laughing, man. It was like a good exchange. It was like 2008 or something.
God damn.
I don't know how I'd find. I guess if Boff, if you're listening, or Steve S, if you could find the Lisa Lampanelli show, it's in there somewhere. But like I said, like, because Sara brought up Elaine Bredehoft and Rottenborn. My Marvel what if? How does that trial go if they switch legal teams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Use Depp's charisma and the charisma of and the lack of charisma of Bredehoft and Rottenborn, and Amber, and uses Camille and Ben Chu.
That would be a hot pile on the streets of San Francisco.
That would be tough, right? I think you'd lose.
I also think that, the team that they both had is a result of their securities and insecurities personally.
Yes.
So that's a tough hypothetical, just because
it would never happen.
It would just never happen, right?
No, I know it would never happen. I'm saying, like,
but I get what you're saying.
They were the only ones available to her, and her insurance company, she had to choose Brown Rudnick and those people. Like, how does that go down? Depp's charisma against theirs.
Right.
So Gungadin Sara says, Sara, have you ever watched the 90210 Terry Spelling? Tori. Who's Terry Spelling?
It's Tori.
They meant Tori. I think it's just autocorrect.
Produced 2 years ago. They played themselves doing a reunion.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know. When they're wacky with all these reunions, the cast gets together, I don't care.
Is that where the Luke Perry homage came from?
Yeah, the 2-second Luke Perry tribute.
Go ahead, W.
Was that 2 years ago or 10 years ago?
It was like 2 years ago. They've tried it a few times. There was an actual show that lasted like maybe 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And then later on, they tried to get back together again. And then the one he's talking about is a couple years ago. The actual cast, minus Luke Perry, got together, and it was like they filmed. They were going to have a reunion. They were going to. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can I tell you my favorite 90210 reboot story really quick?
Yeah.
I was hired to play in the background of an episode. We got cut. I never ended up. It was so whatever the 90210 reincarnation was, like in 2010 or 11.
Okay, yeah.
So we shot in a hotel. It was like an auction scene, but and my parents watched the show because they got it before.
On the
East
tell
Coast.
Me.
And they said
you weren't on together, and you got cut out of the.
We got cut out of the scene, and my mom was like, "Can I have that hour of my life back?"
Oh my god!
Like, but
that's so funny.
That was like the Next Generation, where
I think
it was centered around Aaron Silver. Who cares?
Right.
All I can think about, like they're giving us, I think they're giving us compliments about harping on. It might be Diane D or about harping on the ages all the time. Could have been Ida Greenbacks. Yeah. And all I can think about is when David was telling that story is his mom is 2 years younger than Gabrielle Carteris. That's all I can think about. And almost the same age as Ian Ziering. I think she's 1 year older.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in that generation in show business, like, and they're about to turn 60 or they've just turned 60.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Tom Cruise, right? Depp's going to be Brad Pitt. They're all going to be 60. Yeah. Keanu Reeves will be 60 next year. It's crazy to think about that. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure turns 60. Yeah. And because these guys are such, like, all that whole generation I just named, it's very much Peter Pan complexy. Like, they don't age, and hair plugs were perfected as they hit that sort of, their 40s and stuff. And so nobody loses hair. Nobody looks different. Nobody. Yeah. Flashback to Depp's testimony about Amber's ass imprint on the chair cushion. John O'Reilly. Ben Benjamin, best dance move since David strutted his stuff in Breakin'. David, that's a crazy story. Sara, was that the show where the original cast were teachers or something in the CW?
You talking about 90210 or Breakin'? Okay. 90210, yeah, all the Kelly, Brenda, they were like counselors at the new school. So, I can't.
That's so stupid.
Donna was a fashion designer. Okay.
David, what was the premise of the episode that your music was?
I have no idea. It was but all I know is we were at what it was the scene opened on us. It was a string quartet, and we're playing like music at a fancy auction, and so the camera's on us for a little bit, and then it pans over to what would be the scene. And it's the thing where like we have to fake, like our bows can't touch the string because we can't actually make noise because they're recording dialogue. So we just look stupid. It's like it's a weird. I've the only show that I actually show up in, I was on an episode of Millionaire Matchmaker on Bravo.
better than Howard and Larry Sanders, David. I'll tell you that.
There you go. Yeah, the millionaire who contacted us directly because he was like in real estate, but he thought he was a singer-songwriter. It was horrible. But he was writing a song to the woman he was courting in the episode, and he hired us to be like a backup group as he played piano and sung out of tune. And he presented a cake to the woman that conveniently had his new album on the cake. So he was on the show to like drop his album. It was so fucking stupid.
A trope using bands like that, I think, and I don't know if it was going to go like this, is when it's like on a sitcom where the two people are riffing back and forth and slinging insults at each other. They have a tense moment, and the band doesn't know when to stop playing, and one of the sitcom characters screams, "Not now!"
Yes, exactly. That's so
they
true.
They go into some like inappropriate music as they're arguing, and
right.
love that trope.
It's and then we like our instruments crash and burn as they say, "Not now."
Yeah.
Right.
But you're getting paid, and you're getting hired to do a job, so you have to play the music, and the other one tells you to not play, but the other one tells you to stop. No, stop. No, play, stop.
Exactly.
They love that. Love that. Right, Sarah?
Right.
Crazy Robin goes, Elon is the weirdest looking man ever. I don't know if it's plastic surgery or those hair transplants or what. I cannot look at it. I couldn't agree more, Crazy Robin. What was that Dennis Miller line about? I think maybe he said this country's more fucked up than Kathleen Turner's accent, for Christ's sake. They should change it to Elon Musk at this point.
Yeah.
That what is that accent? What is that? He's American, like he's African, he's British,
he's South African. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird. He's basically an old baby in terms of his appearance. Like he has like a baby's head with like hair, kind of, and he looks gray. And
I'm still trying to figure out why I'm supposed to be so grateful to him technologically. I still can't quite understand.
Hey, I'm grateful to him. I am, because he has brought me the greatest thing ever that I'm now totally involved in, and I love it. I laugh every day. These would be the woke parody Twitter accounts. There's a couple of them I cannot get enough of. They are so hilarious.
Why don't you go suck his crooked dick then, Sarah?
No, I don't think I want to do that, but I will thank him for giving me a good chuckle every morning.
Go suck Mollusk's crooked dick then, Sarah.
No. Well, actually, yes, I will. He's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah,
oh God! What are you? Are you a prostitute? You're like a prostitute with that.
I can close my eyes. It's fine.
Yeah, think of the money.
Crunching ice. That's actually a cough drop, Hooper. That was not. I wish it was ice. It was actually a cough drop. Same sound. That'd be great if you could delineate the sounds from cough drop. That'd be a good game show. Cough drop or ice? And you have to go. David was also cut out of the Marx Brothers Night at the Opera, says Hooper.
That's another 90210 reference. I'm sorry.
When the Marx Brothers were?
And then I'll drop it. I swear to God. Dylan and Brenda's first date was to see a Marx Brothers festival. And Dylan asks her out on a date. He goes, "So I hear you're into videotape." And she's...
Oh, yeah, the hyphen. I remember that.
All right, anyway. Okay, I'm done.
No. I remember that line because it was like a hyphenated. It was like the weirdest way to say videotape.
Yeah.
He hyphenated. It was like a weird, like he'd never said the phrase before.
Yeah.
videotape.
She's like, sure, I like movies. And he goes, well, let's go see a Marx Brother festival. Oh, God. What a
I can't believe I remember that line.
Do you enjoy popular songs?
Yeah.
All right. Premise.
Liberals of TikTok are very funny, says John.
Yeah, it is funny, too. I like it. I shouldn't, but I do.
Fuji Vice, thank you, sir. And thank you for reminding me about Lanny Poffo. I actually wrote that down.
Your donation is in honor of Lanny Poffo. Thank you.
Yeah. I actually wrote down Lanny Poffo too for Brendan. I knew it as I'm like, I hope he brings it. I knew I kind of wanted him to bring it up first, and he never disappoints. Elon's Mr. Tweet account is also funny, says John Riley. I don't know if I know. He has a second account where he just provocateur.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't really know.
There's Ben Benjamin, who's also mastered David Old Soul humor. David was cut out of the square dance scene in Birth of a Nation.
Let's get to the funeral. Sorry.
Brenda goes, I wish I had lines like, hey, I hear you're into videotape. I would have been a stud.
Yeah. Stepping out of the shower.
You know how many broads, Generation X broads, though, watched 90210? If you did that at like a frat party, I honestly think they would know what you were doing. It would be like a funny joke to do that, and they would know. I think that would work, oddly. I do. I think it was the show was so big that people would know that very line. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to go to Jeff Beck, Bon Jovial. That's on me because way too short a notice. Way too short. I didn't know what I was doing.
Stuttering John thing where you're asking them 10 minutes before your show starts. Can you?
Well, I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know I was doing this. I did not know what I was doing. So as you know, Jeff Beck passed away. It's been about 2 weeks, and they had the funeral for him in the UK. The Daily Mail, I felt, had the best coverage of it. They actually have, because it's a UK publication, so they had people at the actual thing, and they took pictures of some of the luminaries. And so farewell to one of rock's all-time greats. Host, you can see this, right, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Host of stars turn out for Jeff Beck's funeral with Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant joining Johnny Depp, Rod Stewart, Chrissy Hine, David, your homegirl,
yes,
Tom Jones, and Ron Wood among the mourners. Late star Jeff Beck was laid to rest St. Mary's Church in Beddington on Friday. Beck, it is today. Shit, I thought it was carried over from yesterday. Beck died January at age 78, contracting bacterial meningitis. Johnny Depp, Sir Rod Stewart, and Ron Wood turned out. By the way, Yahoo spelled Rod Stewart with a D, which is crazy. There are some people who don't deserve to work in digital media. Yeah. Rod Stewart, I swear to God, I actually passed on it and went to Daily Mail because they misspelled. It would have been funny, though, to show you how they spelled Rod Stewart with a D. You know, someone like 26 did that. Could care less about
steward like on a plane.
I don't. My cousin had a great. We were talking one time on the phone, and I don't know where he just some weird, just like a non sequitur. He goes. Like, look, I'm still trying to figure out Rod Stewart. Why the hell he's so big? He can't sing. He doesn't play an instrument. I'm not even sure he's a good song. I really do. Could you imagine that guy trying to make it today, David?
Oh God. Well, and he doesn't, it's not like he's fuckable or anything, you know, I mean, he's
not even a good looking guy. Like, what is it about him? How did that work out for him in pop music? All the things they passed on, all the brilliant, talented singers and musicians that Rod Stewart is. Who else is gonna bring you broken arrows? I'm like Marianne from Brooklyn.
Cindy Lauper.
Johnny Depp, Sir Rod Stewart, Ron Wood turned out to say a final farewell to one of rock's all-time greats, Jeff Beck, at his funeral in South London on Friday. The late star was laid to rest at St. Mary's Church in Beddington, Sutton, with a host of rock royalty attending to pay their final respects. The Pretenders founding member Chrissy Hine, who I love, who she has a relationship with Depp, as surprise. Yeah. She used to be a steady regular at the Viper Room, and I remember reading articles where they said that they would talk spirituality to each other till 5 a.m. about just psychological spirituality after the Viper Room closed, and they would confide each other. I would love to see him tour with her, actually.
Yeah,
The
that'd be
Pretenders
nice.
founding member Chrissy Hine. By the way, Depp's band, The Kids, opened for them also in South Florida when really good music, like REM, The Pretenders, like really like those great like alternative pop bands that got big.
Right.
A lot of those. The B-52 is in one of them too. The Welsh singing legend Sir Tom Jones, blues rock guitarist Eric Clapton, Pink Floyd. Wow, this is some who's who of
star-studded.
By the way, David Gilmour and Boomtown Rats lead singer Bob Geldof all turned out to pay their respects. As David, you brilliantly said, is Depp collects rock guitar heroes like action figures. Is this not a perfect opportunity for him to network with these people and hook up with David Gilmour and shit?
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about last time with or when I was on with Bon Jovial, just talking about like why would Jeff Beck turn down the Rolling Stones, you know? And and yet he'll go on tour with Johnny Depp, you know. It's a weird
I wonder if he doesn't like them. Jeff Beck actually doesn't want to be upstaged by Keith Richards, number one. Maybe he doesn't like Jagger. Is it possible?
Mick Jagger's a pain in the ass.
He is.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what it is. I'm looking for some bigger philosophical reason.
And I think he's been that way since the very first day. I don't think it's a celebrity thing for him.
Right. That makes sense.
Depp is about 1,000 times more easygoing than anybody in the Rolling Stones is to hang out with. Even though Depp hangs around with a lot of assholes, but he makes out to be great guys just because they like you doesn't make them great guys.
I also think that Mick Jagger is one of the many celebrities that's kind of a stand-in for the audience's ego, and it's not for his talent, where Jeff Beck is just selling his talent and the audience feels like I don't have to use this guy as a stand-in for my ego. I'm perfectly happy to be myself in the same room as him, you know? And Johnny Depp is that way too. It's like a Robin Williams thing, you know?
No, I think if Beck has an ego, you're probably exactly right. He's saying like, I'm just going to be an interchangeable, forgettable guitarist in the mix with these guys. You're going to know my work. Depp's going to put the emphasis, even though people, who is he kidding? Are showing up to see Depp, but he's no problem deflecting the attention onto Jeff Beck during the show and backing up, where Jagger's like this, front man, and you're there to see him. In most cases, like 80% of the Rolling Stones people watching are there to see Mick Jagger's front manness.
Yeah, right. To see his persona on display. But it seems like Johnny Depp has been trying to collect other. I know was into like Marlon Brando and stuff, but he doesn't really try to collect actors as much as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly like writers and
he likes the old guys. He likes the old dudes. Yeah, Brando is the one.
Yeah.
But he stopped. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't forged. I used to hear things. You know the guy Vincent Gallo.
Mm-hmm.
He's a weird looking. I haven't seen him in a long time. He did like Brown Bunny, and he was in Arizona Dream with Depp. And they did a huge article on Depp, and they were interviewing people who knew him. And Vincent Gallo said that Depp likes to be intimately close with his directors, like where they go off into a trailer together, and they have this weird relationship that supersedes anybody else on the cast, and they get unusually close with most of the directors that he bonds with. So there's a couple actors, but they're usually older dudes.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro is still really good friends with him. And he defended him mightily during all the Amber Heard stuff when nobody else would.
I wonder if the cozying up to directors thing is like an insecurity thing. Like he doesn't feel like he's really an actor, and even though he's clearly talented, but that he's got these relationships will last based on friendship more than my what I bring to the film.
Yeah, that, and I think he also has an artistic side to him where he wants to inject his input, creative input onto the movie, like where he's like, well, I'm not gonna, the character that you wrote on the page, I'm gonna change it, and I'm gonna give you the formula.
He wants to be a partner.
I think this character should be portrayed, even though he used to not get, until Infinitum Nihil was created, he didn't get producer status until that company was forged. But he likes to have creative input on all these movies as well.
Yeah, I
You're
believe it.
absolutely right. He does have an insecurity as well. Comedians Harry Enfield and Vic Reeves, I guess they're Brit comedians, also attended today's funeral. Beck passed away peacefully on January 11th, age 78, contracting bacterial meningitis. Now, these are some photos of they got, the Daily Mail got, of the actual. Could you imagine? Of course, he has a scarf on. Could you imagine going to a funeral of a really good friend of yours and just being barraged by paparazzi and having to deal with that? You can't grieve. You're doing media.
Jesus.
What is that like?
Doing press. By the way, if we photoshopped Howard's head onto that outfit, I could see it working perfectly.
Easily. But then at the Joan Rivers funeral.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
And then you have to graciously, in Depp's case, like here, just, engage everybody like this. I wonder who the guy on his left, our left is, Sarah.
Do you think Depp went up to speak and mentioned Jeff Beck's cunt like Howard did about Joan Rivers?
That's
I guess they did. Did they do speaking homages?
I'm sure they did.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't.
I doubt he spoke.
There's Rod Stewart. You guys see this?
Oh, God. He looks haggard.
I see his mole, yes. And his eighth
Was
wife.
Rod Stewart in the Yardbirds?
Yeah, he was. Pretty sure.
And down here, there's Tom Jones. That's what he looks like now. Okay.
Oh, my God. He
There's
looks
Seal on the right playing bodyguard.
Yeah. Tom Jones looks very facelifted.
I don't know if he let himself like this, because I've not seen him with gray hair.
Yeah.
Where is he from originally?
Wales.
Oh, okay. I thought he was American.
No, yeah, he's a Welsh singer.
I really thought he was American. That's crazy.
No, he just panders to those Vegas women.
Right.
What's new pussycat women in Vegas?
He's tiny. Look at that. Was he 5'6"?
He's a weird looking guy.
Jesus.
He's Billy Joelish.
Oh, that's Clapton now.
Oh, wow.
Well, Guitar's Hero is just.
Did he sing Tears in Heaven?
He should.
Mm.
He should. Honestly, if ever that was appropriate, it's gonna be here.
His bifocal sunglasses. Good Lord. The thickest glasses I've ever seen.
He's pushing 80 now, right? Isn't he?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's Robert Plant. Wow.
Oh, geez. He never ages. I swear to God, he has looked this age since the 60s.
He looks very jovial, too. He's very happy about the death of Jeff Beck. Look at him.
Well, sometimes you get to an age, though, that's your natural expression. Like the mouth is
It's true.
It's kind of like where my dad is right now. He's got the mouth, it's kind of open and the half smile on the face all the time.
I like Constable Ichabod Crane on the right, our right, and Beck's left.
Yes.
Over the car.
If something breaks out here, they've got that whistle. They'll take them down by whistling.
Blowing the whistle and holding up their baton in the other hand.
Yeah, 1788 nightclub. The networking Depp gets to do here with these guys, Jesus Christ. They should just say in the article, it was all British rockers and Johnny Depp. Because that's all it is. It's like everybody's like a Brit icon and Depp. No one's American. There's Jeff Beck with his Reebok jazzercise spin class sneakers on. Look at that.
That's all right. I had that
Velcro
outfit in the 80s. I had that entire outfit
Pumas?
and that hair.
I thought it was Christopher Guest and This Is Spinal Tap at first.
Yeah.
It's the same page boy haircut. Oh, do we lose arm?
Where you at? Go back in, go out, come back in.
Oh,
I
hear you guys.
We can hear you. Yeah, you're good. We can hear you.
Okay.
Go out though and come back in.
Go out, come in. Go. It's still processing, you guys. I'm sorry. It's still.
You're good.
I'm not even running a lot of stuff. I'm gonna have to stop the screen.
Take the chat down. Like I've told you every single time you've done that. While you have a screen share, take the chat down.
I think you're deluded into thinking that does something.
Oh, okay, because it's done everything every single time, so I'm wrong.
David C. loves the Patreon show, Sarah, by the way.
Thank you, David. I was hoping you'd finally get to that.
Thank you, David C. I love your comments. I want to have him on at some point.
But by the way, John, I was telling you, I'd love to, for just my contribution to the Patreon show, do the second Depp tour. And I'll throw some 90210 stuff. I'll go to Torrance High School.
Totally.
Yeah,
that'll be great.
So
that'll be absolutely great.
Hopefully that'll draw subscribers to Patreon.
Make it all about me and put some like Tom Tom in there. And
yeah, no, I have a list. Don't worry.
Oh yay.
Brendan writes, Rod Stewart's early career. I've heard people say this to me too. Was amazing reason to believe Mary May, and he was handsome as Rick Rude. He just did that just so he could make a Rick Rude reference. I guarantee it.
Yeah, but that's okay because it triggers me. My mother had this frightening crush on Rick Rude. I had to hear about it every single time he would come out to the ring. How hot she thought Rick Rude was.
You talk about looks, like his whole career is based on looks. I'm a better wrestler than Rick. I have more pro wrestling moves than Rick Rude does. Have you ever seen him wrestle? He has no moves.
And you are more ravishing than Rick Rude.
He's a basic bitch when it comes to wrestling. I think he makes Hogan look like the Great Muta, for Christ's sake.
I'm gonna go to hell for this, and I think Fuji Vice is gonna send me there after I make this comment. I thought the same of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, he has no moves either.
The big shtick was the bag with the snake in it.
Yeah, very basic moves. Did you know that the movie, the Mickey Rourke movie, The Wrestler, is based on him, right?
Yes, I knew that.
Okay. If you watch it again, just keep that in mind. I need to watch that movie. It's really good. That was his big comeback. That's how Mickey Rourke made it. Yeah. Another friend of Depp who threatened Elon Musk on
I know, that was great.
That was great. Check out Chrissy Hines' Tattooed Love Boys for some disturbing lyrics based on real life events. I will, Brendan. I don't even know that song. I will check it out. Either. Brendan has great music taste. He's the guy who keeps you honest if you like shitty music. He's like, no. You know, he's usually like spot on. I remember when, remember the Smithereens?
Yeah.
When they came out, Brendan reminded everybody that they were good before the hit song, A Girl Like You. Is that the one? A girl like you.
Oh
yeah. It was a huge hit in like 1990, I guess.
Just say yes and he'll move on.
Vincent Gallo put a hex on Roger Ebert. Holy shit, David. See, really? I remember that. I'm going to play this video now.
Vincent Gallo should have a hex put on him because of Brown Bunny. Anyway.
Let's go on in the church.
Can you expand it there? There you go. Thank you.
Let's go on in
the Wind is the star of this. The Beddington Wind. Is that all we get, guys? Is that all we get?
Just a loop.
Okay.
The least interesting of the lot, Tom Jones on a loop.
They cut down the...
You there?
Arm?
Yeah, the chat doesn't do anything. I'm wrong.
I'm trying to X out of this, guys. Okay, I'm trying to.
You got it. Okay, we can hear you.
Really prickly, as it were. Yeah. You know, all these big media sites now, they have 1,000 ads. So when you run it, you don't know what the hell.
There's like 15 videos playing at once. Yeah,
yep.
Right.
You know, especially
it's so hard to navigate it.
It really gets screwed up with the chat up over it.
You're like a sitcom wise ass, Sarah.
I've run this before.
With your little 7-second comebacks. You're like a 43-year-old B. Arthur. You know that?
Take the chat down, and we'll catch up on the next break.
John O'Reilly, I think
so he keeps going.
No, I took it down. I took the
chat is up. You're looking at it right there.
No, you said don't put the video up in the chat at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I think there's some history between Jeff Beck and Jagger. Ronnie Woods left a very successful Jeff Beck group to go to the Rolling Stones. Yes, I think I heard that too. Ben mentioned both Rod Stewart and Ron Wood were in Jeff Beck group in the late 60s. Jeff Beck's group thing is fascinating, but like I think he became like a lone wolf, and it was so hard not to be that. And you just set your own, do whatever you want. You know, you're not adhering to a 6-month tour with anybody.
Right.
And he's just it's tough to not be. You're a lone wolf, W. I feel like.
I am a little bit, but it reminds me of like those documentaries about like a nightclub you've never heard of, where it's like, oh, you don't know about that? That's where all these famous people started, and like, I barely care.
It's very cool to say you like him too, because he is slightly obscure.
Right.
You know, it's just enough of a guitarist reference to So I am going to go to our Rolling Stone piece and revisit that with Mr. Stephen Rodrick, the brilliant piece from 2018, where he spends, was it, Sarah, 3 days with Depp in England,
Yep.
and I just want to play a really quick Stephen Rodrick on the Dan Patrick Show. He's a very, very Renaissance man, Stephen Rodrick. He knows a lot about sports, politics, music, and he works for Rolling Stone. This is just him on the. He did an article on Russell Wilson, the former quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, who's now with the Broncos and had a horrible season.
You mean Trader Russ?
Yeah, Trader Russ. Yes.
How did this come about that you were going to feature Russell Wilson on the cover?
Well, we decided a few months ago that we were going to do three big NFL figures, and obviously Russell's his backstory and his off season and with the interception. I mean, he seemed like a no-brainer. So, we approached his people, and he was interested, and we kind of went from there.
What kind of feedback do you get, Stephen, when you have something like this that's not in the music field or norm of what Rolling Stone is or always was?
Well, it's funny you mention that. If you read some of the comments, like, 20% of them are, what the hell? This is a music magazine. Why are you doing a Russell Wilson story? But other people, I think sports is now such a big part of popular culture that, and Rolling Stone has always been a popular culture magazine, that it's not that much of a reach. And, particularly in this day with the internet and everything, once you put the story out there, it kind of explodes or doesn't explode, and where it first appeared almost becomes immaterial. I bet you, 80% of the people who are talking about Russell Wilson and water probably couldn't tell you where the story started.
I agree with everything he just said. I don't know if you guys are listening. It's a blurred pop culture society where it's all mixed into one big soup. I don't think Rolling Stone could survive if they just did music. For years and years and years, they have been doing acting stories and.
Well, it's the same. It's the same with MTV. That's why they turned to teen pregnancy shows, and or A&E or T. I mean, any of these channels that were sort of like high art kind of things are focused on a specific
perfect addendum, David. Perfect. Yeah. MTV is yes.
Go into the muck with the rest of us,
That's so well said. MTV realized, at a certain point, the music is just still. I think it started with The Real World and Remote Control. I remember the game show Remote Control. I think it was just like, we got to bring in more. We can't just have music. If we're gonna put asses in the seats, we got to expand outside of just music.
Well, and with the advent of people not buying physical media in terms of like CDs and stuff, and whether it was Napster or turning into iTunes or turning into Spotify, it's like music isn't that inaccessible that you have to build this sort of. I don't think people cared about music even then. It was more about the video aspect of it too,
Yes.
So
it was also easy for MTV to do because they didn't have to pay these people. It was promotion for the band in the video. You know what I mean? Like there was no what was their budget exactly to do that?
I think I think there's a book or something.
There is. I read it. I read it. God, I gotta read it. It's a great book. The MTV generate. Yes, I know exactly.
And it's about how they paid pittance to Kurt Loder.
The VJs. Yeah, I got nothing. Yeah. Yes. Kurt Loder worked for Rolling Stone. I think that's how that started. I think they were recruiting like rock journalists to do their VJ shifts, or some of the people weren't. But I mean, it was no overhead. It was just some weird studio. I think it was up in Upper Manhattan initially. When I saw Remote Control, I went to see Remote Control, and they had that in Spanish Harlem, the studios. And I don't know if MTV was there or they moved it, but it was people think like it was. I mean, you would think to anybody like, oh my God, I'm a VJ at MTV. What a gig that would be, but they got nothing, as the book describes. And they had to. Go ahead.
No wonder Gary could audition for it. Like it was like they let him, Gary Delabate, in the door. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they like saw someone who would work for peanuts.
They were unimpressive people all throughout. They had on their, and it was somewhat 24 hours. I could never tell what was pre-taped on that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Siegel's Sports Stars or Rock Stars. How about the Rock and Jock B-Ball Jam? Remember when MTV dared crossover sports and rock and roll at the same time?
I watched that once when Jeff Ament played from Pearl Jam, and I didn't care.
Luke Perry was in that, Sarah.
I know. I didn't watch that.
I think the year DiCaprio's in it.
It was like Luke Perry, the praying mantis body in a basketball jersey. I didn't care.
That'd be
It's
funny
tucked
to go
in
back
at a
and watch it.
diagonal.
Oh,
How about Fairway to Heaven on VH1?
forget
I
it.
don't know.
Well, they
Golf?
had rockers
No.
playing. They had a golf tournament with rockers.
I
called
don't care
Fairway
if
to
you're
Heaven.
trying to rock and roll golf up. I don't care. I'll never watch it.
To bring it back to Depp as we always can, you know who starred in that?
Alice Cooper.
Alice
Of
Cooper's
course.
a great
Everything
golfer.
golf. Alice Cooper.
Yeah, that's right. John O'Reilly goes, Dan Patrick has more crap on his desk than anyone else in the world.
It's like
By the way,
my desk at work.
That's a weird camera angle, like behind his two producers. Like you can see their like hairy legs under the desk. Like
I think it's deliberate too. It's been on for a while. I think initially it was on NBC.
Okay.
And then they moved it to he broke off at ESPN as all these like bitter ex-anchors that have gone on to do the. He's got a pretty successful career. He was one of the original Sports Center anchors that put ESPN on the map. Was one of like the original guys in the late 80s on ESPN. I think he did the main Sports Center for years and years. Craig Kilborn turned that was like taking sports and crossing it over with comedy, right? And then bring Craig Kilborn and got a fucking talk show on CBS for Christ's sake. That supposedly Artie turned that Howard sabotaged for Artie.
Right. And then Beth goes on it for her first talk show interview.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was supposed to replace Kilborn. Artie.
Oh, okay. Before
That's right. Before
Scottish guy. Craig Ferguson. Yeah.
That's so fun sport. Rolling Stone turned when Hunter S. Thompson died. Yeah, John O'Reilly. I think Thompson would have kept them straight, but they had to just like capitulate to all of pop culture. I just think, the reader, you're always going to get the rock readers, right? But it's the other people they had to bring in to keep it. Now magazines are all dead now, but you know what I mean? Like back then, it had to become a pop culture thing where even if you knew in sports, if you got on the cover of Rolling Stone, that's a whole other level of, being a sports star that can get on the cover of Rolling Stone.
It's never a good business model to expect your audience to be educated on their own devices. Like if Rolling Stone is just going to be like very heady articles about rock music and all of this without simultaneously somehow educating their audience to appreciate what they're actually writing about, you're going to have to go to the lowest common denominator at some point. That wears out after a while,
Well, I remember the cover story was one thing, but then the rest of the magazine tried to stay musically adroit. And it would, if you went through the whole thing, but they just assume that most people are just going to read the cover story and that's it.
Yeah.
Are you going to read it cover to cover? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Oh God! I told you that Boff found my letter to the editor, right?
Yes, you told me.
Yeah. I got. If I can, I can't. I think I could show it now, Sarah. I have it on the homepage. I think. Maybe I'll cue it up for next time. I don't want to be meandering over here, going Where is it? Where is it?
Wasn't this the final Rolling Stone?
What do you mean?
Episode we're doing?
Well, no. I mean, it doesn't matter when I show you this. The letter to the editor, it doesn't matter.
I say serve it from Patreon or something. Make people pay for it.
Yeah.
$2, people.
Yeah, come on.
Thank you once again, Boff. I don't know how you pulled that out. It's from I think August of '98. The Rolling Stone, the first letter in there talking about Depp. You get the editing process in magazines is like because it's Rolling Stone. I must have written them a 3-page rant about how he's the most underrated best actor in Hollywood, and they cut it down to a paragraph or 2 sentences or something. And it's amazing. They took a sentence from the first paragraph and then a sentence from the 15th paragraph and put them together in a. I'm like, what? Like, I really believe they were going to publish the entire letter. It's
right.
like 2 pages.
If I experience
handwritten with my shitty lefty handwriting.
If I experience nothing else in my life before my end of days, I need to go back in time to that moment where they're reading it for the first time, and I need to hear what they mumbled under their breath as they're reading this.
Oh, that is the funniest thing, is like the actual people who work at when they read the crazy letters coming in from people, how they talk shit about everybody. Everyone's a loon and everyone's a stalker and everyone's get a life, and the shit. God damn it, that's so funny, Sarah.
Yeah, that's true.
The shit they talk. You agree with them?
I do agree with him.
You agree with them?
I have these thoughts, but I would never think to write it out in a letter, a multi-page letter, and find an address in the back corner of the back page of the magazine to mail it to. I would never think to do that.
And then I called the phone number to make sure it got there. I was almost going to have it certified. Remember that guy Raymond Norman from the Stern Show that sent the letter to Oprah and he had it certified mail just so he knew that she read it. I called Rolling Stone from Brooklyn to make sure they got the letter. Well, nowadays, like, if you lose that, it's gone. It's not like you could make photocopies of it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work to put into something. If you lose it, it's gone forever. You don't have. It's not on a computer.
You don't have
file.
a paper trail.
Yeah, you don't have anything. So that was why I did it.
I love your passion, John. I love it. Never lose it, please.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Even worse. Even worse. Sure. I took a subway from Brooklyn to. That's not a big deal. It's a couple minutes. To Manhattan, and I dropped it off at the mailbox closest to the address of Rolling Stone because I didn't trust that the Brooklyn P.O. box it would get there. Like, I took it. I actually hand delivered it right in front of the thing. I didn't go to the. Just
as much as you could drop it off in person, you went to that extent, right?
After your Alec Baldwin push-up story, nothing shocks me.
That's even. I think the Baldwin thing is worse than that. I don't know. It's not like I'm proud of it.
I love it all. Sincerely, I'm not being ironic.
I know.
I love all of it.
I know. Your comfort. Yeah.
How many conversations did you have with him?
A number. I was like, I hung out with him for.
When I was, and Sara knows it, David's read it. So the Depp piece in Rolling Stone, like when I was listening to this, it has a lot of similarities to like the way he spent with Depp. So I'll play a couple more.
What year is this?
2016, 15.
Oh, okay.
3 or 4 days, he was running a camp at USC, one of his passing camps, and then 2 or 3 days while he was rehearsing and getting ready for the Nickelodeon Kid Choice Sports Awards. And then I went up to Seattle to have kind of a final conversation with him just as training camp was starting.
Did you feel, it's weird when you talk to Russell, there's certain athletes where you're not quite sure you're getting what is really there. Did you have any of those moments with him, or did you feel like you did get him to open up?
I think I got him to open up a bit, but I do think that he's a very smart person, and as his brother says in the story, you could tell him the sky is blue, but if he thinks it's gray, he's going to tell you it's gray. And he has a specific kind of worldview, whether it's about the Super Bowl or his height or the products he's pushing, and you're really not going to.
Some nerds in that crew.
I think his name is McLovin. Is one of his. I don't know the Patrick show that well, but I know like one of he calls McLovin. I think the guy on the right.
Oh,
one guy's listening to his headset out of his eye. I don't know what's going on here.
Dan Patrick.
And by the way,
suck up.
Before we get struck here, this is fair use. Thank you, YouTube.
I think we're doing Dan Patrick if we have a bigger audience than he does.
You can write the appeal up then.
The sports media,
Mm-hmm.
the sports media, sports radio, sports TV landscape now is so fractured. It's so broken up. It's so much out there now. It's so crazy how much sports radio, sports media there are based on when. The first day, John O'Reilly says, arms called to Francesa. The first days of WFAN, which is the first 24 hours. It's not the first sports radio. It's the first 24/7 sports radio. And did people realize that WFAN was actually spawned from Howard's WNBC. Initially, there was something called Sports Night on WNBC, and Dave Sims and Mike Breen, the NBA lead announcer now, hosted it. And it was on from 7 to midnight during the week. Howard's show was before that, but then he went to K-Rock in 86. WNBC remained. Imus was on there, and then it integrated and got bought out into WFAN. And then Imus took the morning show.
Oh,
it's bizarre. But initially it was sports radio was really that. It was just 7 to midnight. Dave Sims and then Mike Breen filled in for him.
So sports also has like a 24-hour news cycle home somewhere too, just like the real news.
Well, it does, but now there's 1,000 shows,
and there's
like,
right, and there's
even
1,000
nationally.
shows, right?
It's Your Precious Cleveland has its own sports radio and has its own video shows, and there's 1,000. There's like 100 Browns shows.
I listen to at least
YouTube.
5 a day.
Oh, I don't know how they get an audience. Like, there's so many different things. I don't know. The audience is so fragmented across. I don't know how one sustains, including this, who's been around forever. You know what I mean? It's just it's so shared. I don't know. It's amazing.
How do you get a piece of the audience that can sustain you? Yeah, that's true.
I guess like they're saying Boston on the Gungadin said, the Boston sports fans, the chowderheads are so loyal to their region that I mean, I know so many Boston sports fans that won't listen to anything except it's got to be Chowderhead. It's got to be. It's nothing but Celtics, Patriots, Red Sox, even Bruins. The Bruins are like 40-2 or something like that. I just saw,
I'm in the car, an hour a day, let's say. Maybe I'm over exaggerating that, but I'm listening constantly. I go back and forth between NFL radio and NBA radio. I was antique shopping this morning. Yes, I'm a woman. I can do that. And breaking news as I'm driving down Commercial Street in Salem, Oregon, Kyrie Irving wants a trade. So yes, it's my life. I listen to sports radio constantly.
Not even bringing up Sirius, who has its own. Like, I would have killed for this when I was a kid. When I was so I'm a sports fan now, but I was way worse when I was a kid in terms of like the obsession with it. And there was so little to do back then that sports was bigger because there was less options in everything. So now you have an individual NBA channel, you have an NFL channel, a Major League Baseball channel, an NHL channel, a golf channel, a fantasy sports channel. I would have killed for an NBA channel to call into as a kid. Oh God, I used to call FAN about the Sacramento Kings, and they'd hang up on me because nobody, like in New York, like who gives a shit about the? Oh, I see. It's so like not germane to the New York audience.
I'll take my answer off air, please.
I would tell the screener I wanted to talk about the Mets middle relief, and I'd talk about the Sacramento Kings.
Nice.
Hang up on them. But that's what I'm saying. Like this now, there's something for everybody, whoever you are. It's so crazy. So like I don't know how anybody listens to like how this show gets an audience anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of that, call NBA radio, say you want to talk about the Lakers, and then just talk about the Trailblazers.
Oh, I've done
Frank Isola gets on.
I've done that.
Him off his mark, and I don't think it's artificiality as much as he's just the guy who believes what he believes, and I think that kind of mindset is partially what allows him as a 5'10", 5'11" guy to become a Super Bowl quarterback.
Sorry.
How did fans react to him when you were around him?
Oh, I mean, it was just nuts. I mean, I saw two of his camps, and one.
It's amazing, Sarah, the height thing. Like if you're a quarterback and you're under 6'2", it's like crazy. You're like you're like
Baker
Eric
Mayfield.
the Midget. Yeah, Baker. What is he? Is he 6? He's 6 feet, right? 6'1".
Baker the Midget. No, I think he's 5'7". The way he throws into the line and they bat every pass down, I think he's 5'7".
And that's considered like Tyrion from what's the show?
Thank God he's not my problem anymore.
And Russell Wilson's like probably my height, just about 6 feet, and it's considered you're like a midget, and that plagued his mind that he's considered a short quarterback. But he was great for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to see over your offensive line to be effective. You can't
do.
improvise any other way. You don't always have to.
You have to see
Like
where
Steve Young
your
was only
receivers
6'1".
are down the field,
Steve Young is only 6'1".
and he didn't have a problem
Well, but that's
because
not
he knew
over
how
your
to arc.
lineman. Your
He
lineman
knew
is
how to put an arc on his throws. He didn't throw into the hand of the left tackle.
that's because he's a lefty.
One of them was in LA where the kids were a little more, let's say, confrontational, and one of them came up to him and was like, "Why didn't you give the ball to Marshawn Lynch? Beast mode." And Russell kind of cringed, but he didn't. Then I saw him do a camp up in Tukwila, which is out by SeaTac in Seattle, and there was 1,200 kids, and there was 4,000 or 5,000 parents sitting in the bleachers, and he was like a rock star. There was somebody like, I don't know, he was scalping he was basically scalping like a pass to this training camp, and a kid who got to meet Russell was crying. So up there, I mean, I think he's the quintessential sports hero.
Yeah, not anymore.
Actually, what we got robbed of is that I wish he would have walked around with Depp during that interview and seen Gage. That would have been really. I think today he would have done that. I think Depp would have agreed to do that today. I think then, Stephen Rodrick called him hunted in the interview.
Right.
So then it wasn't impossible. I think he was trying to stay out of the limelight. He's literally on the lam in England while he was visiting him.
Having read the whole article, I gather that Stephen Rodrick was he thought he had like a Grey Gardens kind of story on his hands, like as if Johnny Depp had become Howard Hughes and he'd gone insane, and he's trying to paint that kind of portrait of him.
Mm-hmm.
Totally was. That's the angle he wanted to take, and he might have had that vibe at that time because it was Depp probably in the worst of the public sentiment about him. I think around that very month, even certainly that year, like 2018 is when Aquaman came out and literally beat every Depp movie, and then Amber Heard's taking credit for it, even though she has nothing to do with the success of that movie. But nevertheless, that's just piling on. I mean, that couldn't have been a worse fate to think, oh my God, Amber Heard's got a movie that's made more money than any Depp movie, even though it's got nothing to do with it. It was like people believed her at the time. She was hubris personified. Just, you know what I mean? Like she was everywhere and riding high on his negativity.
Do you ever watch old talk show interviews with actors like in the best year of their career, and maybe like 2 or 5 years down the line they get canceled for some reason or something horrible happens to them, and it's so surreal to watch them in the prime of their life and just knowing what
Kevin
forward.
Spacey was a good one to do with, because he loved his talk shows, right? He fancies himself a stand-up comedian before he was an actor, and he would really bring it on these. That's a great, that's an absolute excellent.
There's something chilling about now that we have all these clips that surface from all the talk shows YouTube pages. It's chilling to watch someone who that you're seeing them in the best year of their life, and then at some point they just go downhill. Well,
Saturday Night Live the host of Saturday Night Live is usually someone who's at the apex of their career. So it's funny because I have all these old SNLs and I go back and sometimes look at it, like Christian Slater hosting in 1992. That's what I got to get to Bon Jovial. That's him at the apex of his career.
Right.
And that's a perfect example of someone who, and like, oh, wow, it just kind of gets worse from there.
Yeah.
He doesn't translate well to the 2000s.
Yeah.
Saying nothing bad about Christian Slater, it's just that he just somehow didn't make the jump. The baby Nicholson thing didn't seem to take off in adulthood.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
But mobsters didn't push him over the edge of superstardom.
But he's a limited actor too. He does the one thing. He does the one baby Nicholson thing. He's not very rangy, is he?
No, and I don't even think it's good. Like the best example of that is probably Heathers, and he's my least favorite character in Heathers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, and he's doing a high school Jack Nicholson in that movie, like maybe more than anything he's ever done.
Yeah,
where Pump Up the Volume, and he was in the early 90s. It's just in everything, and that's he was certainly bigger than Depp was sort of just right out of Jump Street, like early 90s. Christian
Yeah.
Slater was about as big as a young leading guy could get.
And then he does like Bed of Roses and it all falls apart.
Yeah. What was it? Baboon Heart. What was the thing with Marissa Tomei?
Untamed Heart.
Untamed Heart. Depp turned that. Yeah, there's a lot of Depp and Christian Slater in terms of Depp turning stuff down. Christian Slater got beat out. You know, he tried out for Ed Wood and Burton gave it to Depp.
Mm. Oh, I didn't know that.
People knew that. Yeah, he auditioned for Ed Wood and didn't get it. And that was like a real. And then it said that Depp stole Winona Ryder from him. So those two things made him. He hated Depp. I remember reading an interview with Christian Slater, and they're asking him about all the young, leading guys, and in the late 30s and late 20s and early 30s, and they get to Depp, and he goes, "I don't think about Johnny Depp at all.
Right.
I never think about." Everybody else got a huge gushing compliment from him.
Right.
He brought Depp up, and he just said that, and I was like, "Wow."
Glaring omission.
Yes.
Was Depp dating Winona during Scissorhands?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
From about 89 to about 92.
I think that same year she was doing, what was that? Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael.
Yeah, Sara.
We were just talking about that movie the other night.
Oh my God, with Jeff. I was thinking like Jeff Daniels missed out.
How funny is it? David's seen that movie and I haven't.
I have watched that movie 50 times probably.
I do
as a youth.
Yeah.
With Winona, did you know she was supposed to get Godfather 3 that went to Sofia Coppola? Yeah, and she got sick.
She had to back out because she was sick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When Depp was dating her, that was one of the to prove how dedicated they were to one another. That Johnny Depp was at Winona Ryder's bedside as she had to bow out of Godfather 3, and that was part of it.
Did he carry her to the bed like he did Kate Moss?
Yeah.
Like did me.
Yes, John O'Reilly. Gambling is such a big part of. I know they got to own the gambling thing now.
It's wrecked sports.
But they're so stupid. Like that's what I loved about Al Michaels is he used to innuendo gambling all the time, and he's like, and I remember seeing it might have been on Howard, and he was just like, look, he's like half our audience is there to gamble. He's like, why can't we acknowledge it? He's like, it's so stupid. They know what the point spread is. We just talk about. So Al Michaels would often give like code about a team breaking the point spread, and it was like a huge thing. You get fired, and he's like, no, we all gamble. We're in football pools at work and shit. Stop acting like it doesn't exist. It's so stupid. It's so disingenuous. And thank God it's somewhat legalized now in certain places. I'm still not sure how that works.
Yeah, what the parameters are.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Gunga Dinga, Boston has 2 sports radio stations. They can't even have just one. They got 2. Oh, thank you, Gunga Dinga. I can listen to Sara all day. We all can. Right, Sara, with the Liz Cheney voice you have?
That's not what he said. He says, I listen all day to sports radio, Sara.
Oh, okay. That's what I meant to you. Sara on sports radio.
Thanks for the compliment, though, Arm.
Arm is so convincing when he reads something that I read it myself, and I was like, yeah, that's what it says.
Ben Benjamin, Arm, did you call in when Sacramento Kings Bobby Hurley played for them? Yeah, Wayman Tisdale is one of my favorite all-time players, so that's exactly the era. Bobby Hurley got into this car accident. He came from Duke, and he was like a great college star, and he just didn't translate to the NBA. He got into this car accident that almost killed his whole career. His dad was a prison guard in Jersey City, Hurley Sr., and he got like NBA offers, and he turned them down because he just didn't feel he just had such a commitment to St. Anthony's. That's exactly right, Ben Benjamin. The Lionel Simmons, Wayman Tisdale era. That's exactly right. Mitch Richmond and Spud Webb was that. I can't believe you remember that. Just like nobody cared about those teams. Sara, didn't you see them, Sara, against the Blazers in an actual Rose Garden?
Yeah, 1992.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. You got
Don't
to
be
see
jealous.
Wayman
That's the last
Tisdale
game
as
I've ever
a
got to
king?
go to. Was 45 years ago.
Wayman Tisdale played in the game, though.
Yeah. Oh well. I didn't even
Oh,
notice.
not well. You should be thinking about that every day. Someday we're gonna find that game, and we'll see you and your mom in the audience.
Yeah, me.
I remember Bill
14
Mazer, John
years
O'Reilly.
old.
I used to call that show. Bill Mazer was an old New York sports guy, and he had a show called From Mickey Mantle's Restaurant on Central Park West or something. And it used to be live. It was like for an hour when WFAN first started. I can't believe he remembers that. I think Spencer Ross had it before he did. I can't believe it. We used to call that all the time, and it was no time delay because it was from Nicky Mantles, and we would curse, and the curses would get on the radio because they couldn't cut it. The 7-second delay, or they had at the time, wouldn't work. And
God.
Mazer was old then. Bill Mazer was old then. He was a Fox nice guy though. I met him at a Knick game once. Very nice guy. I regret breaking his balls. Drew Brees was short, young and den. So let's go to our hero, our anti-hero, Stephen Rodrick, interviewing Depp in Rolling Stone, and hopefully we can finish it tonight. Let me go to 48 NBA game, 48 minutes. Wait, what? I wrote down the times. Yeah, 48 minutes, 48 something. 48. Here we go. 48:30.
He publicly chivalrous when Penelope Cruz told Dan later on March of 2016, and the legal war began. In our conversations in London, Depp's ugly 2016 divorce from Heard is the subject that dare not say its name here, but it's inextricably linked to Depp's troubles now. Before Depp met Heard, his relationship with women was publicly chivalrous when Penelope Cruz told Depp that she was pregnant right before the beginning of the shoot for the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean. She wondered if she should drop out of the project. Depp told her that was ridiculous.
What are the odds you guys think that he had an affair with Penelope Cruz throughout? They've worked with each other in Blow.
You know, people can
Pirates.
be friends.
Not like that.
Okay.
She also was sort of like Alec Baldwin had kind of a torch for her at some point.
I didn't know that.
Or am I or Salma Hayek? I'm sorry. That was.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
You know, it's funny you said it because Salma Hayek was on an episode of 30 Rock. So I think that he made that happen. I think you're spot on about it.
She had a recurring arc, and I think, and you know, he married a woman who he thinks is from Spain.
There we go. As you can say, Hillary from Boston is living.
There you go. Holy shit. That's fucking great, David. We got to tell Monique next time she goes down the.
That show. She did such a great job.
That's a great fact, though. I didn't even, and I know a lot about Alec Baldwin, and I didn't even. I've always had a sort of a torch for Salma Hayek. I saw her in Desperado, and I hadn't had to masturbate for years. But I just woke up convincing. Speaking of, so Javier Bardem, the actor.
Yeah,
he's friends with Depp because they did a movie called Before Night Falls. Depp did a double cameo in that movie. And that shows is that he plays a transvestite and like a Hitler type, where he has this huge schwanz, and he's grabbing his package throughout. Did you ever see this, Sarah?
I'd like to.
Yeah. Did you ever see? So this is like he plays so it's hard to believe it's the same guy, and he interrogates Javier Bardem while he has an erection, a sort of John Hamm-esque erection in his pants,
right?
And he's playing like a Hitler with a Hitler mustache and the whole thing. And it's called Before Night Falls by Julian Schnabel.
Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz were in Vicky Cristina Barcelona, that Woody Allen movie with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
It's okay.
I know the movie. I know the whole thing. I just never watched it. What's the premise of that, David?
Scarlett Johansson and her friend, played by some character actress, they go to Spain, and Javier Bardem kind of picks them up and tries to expose them to this kind of bohemian lifestyle in Spain, and they're starting like a sexual relationship, Scarlett and Javier, and then it turns out his crazed girlfriend Penelope Cruz comes back into the picture, and she's insane. And but what's funny about the movie is like there's a whole scene where Penelope Cruz and Scarlett Johansson are like making out in like a photo developing room. You know, it's just for Woody Allen to like get off.
Of course, it always is.
But it's funny. It's a Woody Allen movie. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm good, and I'll move on.
Has Woody Allen ever not been self-indulgent in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, no, I agreed.
I got a Can I just tell my favorite Woody Allen story? It's not even a story at all. My cousin and I, two gay cousins, gaying out with each other. So we saw Woody Allen's Celebrity together in his area. It was kind of midtown-ish. I want to say it was like a theater. I can't remember anymore where it was. I want to say 6th Avenue and 18th Street or something like that.
Okay.
And we saw Celebrity together on some weird night. There was nothing to do. And he turns to me in the middle of, was sitting very close to each other. And he turns to me in the middle of and he whispers to me, "It's amazing to me what Woody Allen can get away with that no other filmmaker can get away with. Like you would just get you would just get laughed out of any studio if you turned in what he does at that point." So it's his take. It's his out of touch take on Celebrity. I think it was like the late 90s, like 99 it came
98.
out. So in the movie, and I don't know why I'm the only one that knows this. Like you talk about my Depp street cred. In the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio's in the movie, and he basically he 100% tries to portray Johnny Depp going off on Kate Moss in the hotel room scene. They completely reenact it. Nobody knows. I don't know why nobody knows this. I'm trying to. I have to like sell this to people to watch this. We're gonna go over this on Patreon. We're gonna go over this on Patreon. Yeah. So DiCaprio, he and Depp have a strange relationship. I don't even know if they're friends anymore. I can't track it. They were in Gilbert Grape together, and DiCaprio tells stories how Depp used to break his balls on the set. There's something weird going on with those two.
I think I sense that Leonardo DiCaprio is a bit of a try-hard, and that it could irk him that Johnny Depp doesn't have to try hard, and he still comes off as more charismatic.
And who is DiCaprio? He's like a little wigger in the early. Remember the Pussy Posse when he would go out?
Oh yeah.
It was him and Tobey Maguire and Lucas Haas and these guys. And by Pussy Posse, I think it was a double entendre, meaning that they're all pussies. Not that they get pussy, but they're all just a bunch of twink pussies. I think he's the most overrated actor on the face of the earth, DiCaprio. He gets every good script there is in Hollywood. He's laughable. When he plays a tough guy in a Scorsese movie, it is laughable.
Yeah,
just because his
he's
name
a try-hard.
sounds. Yes.
I don't think he's that bad. Gilbert Grape alone has set him up for me for life. He's got to pass. As a person, I don't like him. As an actor, I think he's fine.
Most people agree with you, but when he tries to play a tough guy, his young roles are the best stuff. He's like Gilbert Grape in This Boy's Life, but when he tries to play he's such a fucking like you can't take him seriously as an adult. I just can't.
The way he fought off Brian Peck in that behind-the-scenes video of Growing Pains, he deserves an award.
So in Celebrity, the Woody Allen movie, Leonardo DiCaprio plays Depp in the movie, and I think that Depp's people and Depp do not like that. I think that there was no good way to look. So he tried to reenact the Kate Moss hotel fight that's famous from the Mark Hotel from 1994. And Woody Allen's take on Celebrity is everybody's like Depp in this hotel. And so he had DiCaprio play Depp in this scene. And then he really kind of carries the second half of the movie. Yeah. And that goes into, then they go to like Atlantic City to a boxing match. And I don't know why I'm the only one that's seen this movie.
I've seen a lot of obscure Woody Allen movies, but I think that's one that I missed. I think Woody Allen, like when I did think his movies were good, were they stop in like 1992, and then it's exactly what you said. He has these really stale takes on.
He couldn't be more out of touch.
He's out of touch,
Hall and Oates.
And he's probably bitter that people never really saw his movies, but I think it just became worse and worse through the mid 90s and into the 2000s,
What is he so wealthy from, David? How does he get funding for these movies? Like, what is it? You know how he's thought of as like this multi-million, what from what? These movies never make money. Like, what is he so wealthy from?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's like a Jay Leno thing where it's like, I made all my money in stand-up. I didn't make any money, which I don't believe, because he was an unsuccessful stand-up. If Annie Hall winning Best Picture in 1977 bankrolled him for the rest of his life, I don't believe that either.
The only thing I could justify him and money is that either he has these like benefactor filmmakers funding his shit,
Yeah.
and he just sits on the money, like, and so many people want to work with him that he doesn't have to pay the actors anything, and he just sits on it. So if the movie makes $4 million, he just takes the whole thing. Like there's
That's
no
what I've heard. It's a status thing to be in a Woody Allen movie.
Right.
So actors are idiots and they think,
Yep.
"Oh, I'll take scale. No problem. It's a
Yeah.
Woody Allen movie."
Yes, he gets the best of the best of the best people that, and obviously he's this crazy pedophile, and
Right.
he gets this weird pass, and that's been an issue for a long time.
I think he's got quite the real estate portfolio, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know.
He's an Epstein buddy, Sarah. Remember the picture we saw?
Mhm.
David, if you get to there's a picture of Jeffrey Epstein walking down the street with Woody Allen, just hanging out.
But directors,
what do they have in common?
Directors gave him
Friendship.
the same pass as they gave Roman Polanski. I mean,
Yes.
they just that it was
Very
so long
similar.
ago, or
They
that
still get
you know.
standing ovations.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that because no studio produces his films, I think he has benefactors, and then like MGM United Artists will be the distributor, but they're not going to produce it, you know.
Right.
So that's what I think happens.
I think that Johnny Bye goes, old man dates teenage stepdaughters at the premise. Welcome, Johnny Bye. It was great to see you in here. I love your pushback. Here is our check this out. Tell me you can see this.
Oh, yeah.
So this
Well, Epstein was funding quite a few of his friends, if I recall correctly, because he had just FU money times 20 because of the blackmail he was doing. So I wouldn't doubt that he was funding Woody Allen in some way.
What are the odds that Epstein funded his movies?
I totally buy that.
I bet you he was a silent partner. I love to say that in the background. It just doesn't make any sense how wealthy Woody Allen is. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, there are just so many. Again, I'm going with that theory that he takes every bit of the profit, and there's no overhead, like I said, because he doesn't have to pay these huge superstars that he gets to do these movies.
Well, and he strikes me as like a New Yorker who has lived in the same rent-controlled apartment for, you know, the last 60 years, you know, and there's all these like arcane, you know, apartment laws that we don't know about that can never up his rent or anything
that only he gets access to. There's this legend about him that he plays with this band on Monday nights at some pub where he plays, I don't know if it was saxophone or
clarinet.
Yeah, clarinet. In that same hat too.
His Henry Fonda on Golden Pond hat. Yeah.
Everything's the Upper East Side with these two too. He lives right by Epstein. They're really good friends. Look at this. Hanging out. Just trundling down the street. You don't do that on accident. You don't get into his circle on accident. There's not.
Why do you think billionaires sold Epstein like the most valuable properties in New York City for $1? Why do you think they did that?
That's right. Midnight. The networking. I mean, Epstein's black book is fascinating. Who's in that thing?
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to, there's some really.
Rob Reiner's in it. How about that, Mr. Woke Twitter?
And then Epstein Island too. All that the weirdest one is Chris Tucker. That's my favorite one. That's the strangest one, going to Epstein Island over and over again.
Your most beloved actors and actresses, they are perverts.
Oh, totally.
If you ever knew what they were really up to, it would crush you. You'd be shooked.
Nice grammar, Miss Sara.
I'm from the streets.
Pronouncing the ED at the end of shook. We don't do that in this classroom. Ben Benjamin, this is for you. Show me that smile again.
Show me that
Don't waste another minute on your crying. We're going near the end. The best is ready to begin. Ooh, ooh. As long as we got each other, we got the world spinning right in our hand. Benjamin, you and me, we're gonna be the luckiest people, sharing the laughter. That was for DiCaprio.
That's the season 6 extended version of the song.
That's the crazy thing is I do know my dream. If I had to do it all over again, my dream occupation is to be Jason Seaver with the psychology practice on the side of the house, and which he did from Smithtown, Long Island. I might add where that show was set.
Nice.
I used to think Alan Thicke sang that song, but he didn't. And then I thought
he
Joanna
wrote
Curran
it, right?
sang it. Did he write? Did he?
I think he wrote it.
Did he write it? Okay.
Yeah, he's quite the songwriter.
To quote Alan Thicke, "Ouch," right, guys? Ouch. G Canada and Woody Allen. Is there anybody more opposite of Woody Allen than G Canada?
God, yeah.
Right. He's like Seinfeld. Seinfeld gets a pass too. G Canada. That seems to be coming out more. I've seen people writing about the Shoshana Lonstein stuff. Everything's the Upper East Side, by the way. All these people from the Upper East Side.
It is weird. I've noticed that. I don't mean to derail the show anymore, but I have noticed the people are turning on Jerry Seinfeld more and more as the years go on. As they should.
If it wasn't for Jason Alexander and
Larry David,
Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Larry David and Michael Richards, he would not have the hubris, arrogance that he has. It would be it's amazing. Woody Allen movies are marginally successful, says Brendan. Very low budget. They make a modest, but Hollywood standards profits. He's a director, producer, and often actor. So yes, he gets all the fucking profits. Watch a deep depth Woody Allen movie, but he's a bring Lily Rose to the set. Oh, Johnny, bye. Whoa. That's exact. How much you want to bet, Johnny, bye that Lily Rose does a Woody Allen movie in the next 3 years? The next and last Woody Allen movie that Lily Rose actually finds her way into that somehow. I guarantee. That's so funny. John O'Reilly writes, Wikipedia says Annie Hall ultimately made $38 million, $171 million by 2021 standards in the U.S. and Canada against a $4 million budget.
Yeah, all right.
That's enough, right? That qualifies his four. I had no idea it made that much.
Yeah. And then, for the rest of his life, he's just like Woody Allen is saving tea bags, to like be on a budget.
Was it Gilbert Gottfried reference there?
Yeah, exactly.
He reminds you of Gilbert.
Just because to extend that amount of money and live in a New York apartment, and as you say, like, how is he so wealthy?
Yeah. It's Johnny Bobby. There's a documentary of Woody Allen playing clarinet with his jazz cats. I'm gonna check that out. I don't know how recent it is.
It's from the mid '90s.
It's hard to get footage of. Sara showed me the fucking what's her name? What's the
Mia Farrow?
Mia Farrow's documentary on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
That's some crazy shit. You ever see that, David?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, with messages and stuff.
And Ronan Farrow's articles on it are really interesting too.
Yep.
Chris Tucker, Jacob C. Welcome, sir. Is a close friends with Michael Jackson. So what a weird existence that Chris Tucker has, right? Michael Jackson's good friends with. I didn't even realize that. Lies and Misdemeanor, Broadway Danny Rose are also great. Broadway Danny Rose, I know that. I watched a clip of that, and I was meant to watch it because it was like apparently it's about I don't know. It's like a failed comedian or something. Almost like a
Broadway Danny Rose.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
King of comedy kind of vibe to it or something.
Not Jennifer. Is it Jennifer Tilly or?
Yeah, I think it is.
Jennifer Tilly's in it.
Bullets Over Broadway.
Maybe it's that one. She got an Oscar nomination for.
Yeah. I think it's Bullets Over Broadway. I don't know if she's in that. Maybe she is in that too.
I think you're right. It is Bullets Over Broadway. Yeah.
I think Jennifer Tilly would give us some good opinions on some crazy broad opinions on Woody Allen if you had talked to her today about it. I bet. I
think you're right.
Oh God, wife swap, Diane D. Well, by the way, Sue Monster, welcome. I saw you up there. Well, I saw you pop in and out. Welcome, Sue Monster, and thank you for all that you do in support of the Deppening and Gunk community. I forgot. Smart as. Loves the singing. I love it. You got to get on, Smart as. We'll sing a duet of 8 is Enough. When David says teabag, does it mean the same as what it always means?
You wish G Canada. No, I'm kidding.
G Canada. Wild Man Blues is Woody Allen. Okay, back to our friend Mr. Rodrick.
And by the end, I was 6 months.
Sorry. I thought it picked up. It did.
Depp's ugly 2016 divorce from Heard is the subject that dare not say its name here. but it's inextricably linked to Depp's troubles now. Before Depp met Heard, his relationship with women was publicly chivalrous. When Penelope Cruz told Depp that she was pregnant right before the beginning of the shoot for the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean, she wondered if she should drop out of the project. Depp told her that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I bet.
He protected me every day, and by the end, I was 6 months pregnant, says Cruz.
I'll
I'll never
bet.
forget that. Depp and Heard met on the set of The
That's
Rum
cleverly
Diary,
phrased.
an odd, unsuccessful ode to Hunter S. Thompson.
Why does Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem's baby look like Jack Depp, Sarah?
Come on, let's get through this.
Thompson's early reporting years, supposedly. Christie was apparently opposed to their marriage, and that opposition led to a strain on her relationship with her brother. Depp's last constant connection to the real world was severed now. Depp, according to TMG Suit, spent $1 million on a wedding held on his Bahamian island. On May 20th, 2016, Depp's mother died. The next night, Heard reportedly called Io Tillett Wright, an artist and friend of the couple, and told Wright to call 911. Wright wrote later on in the website Refinery 29, I could hear Depp saying, "What if I pull your hair back?" Wright called the police and
That's really what Wright sounds like. Sounds like Corey Feldman a little bit. If you ever see, there's a transgender friend, and it sounds exactly like Corey Feldman if you see the testimony. What do you think happened with Christy Dombrowski and the "I told you so" about Amber conversation as all this shit hit the fan? And then the money stuff comes out with his sister, Christy. And she's like, well, I might owe you $7.5 million, but I told you so.
I don't know enough about it.
The sister in the art right there, it says that his sister's like, don't marry her. Don't get a prenup. Don't marry her. I'm telling you right now, don't marry her. And so later on, there's a financial thing, the thing I read where his sister supposedly bilked $7.5 million from
right.
the production company what do they say? In misappropriated funds is the phrase I like to use for that. So I wonder how the conversation goes when all this shit hits the fan with him and his sister, where she goes, I told you this was going to happen.
Right.
And he can't take the, hindsight, not hindsight. She got in front of it. Actually, he just didn't listen to her.
Is their relationship, I assume because his sister was there on his behalf in the trial, their relationship is good now?
Oh, it's good. Yeah. I think I'll drop the $7 million if you testify for me.
Fair, right.
In the leadoff hitting spot.
He's always housed her on the property of the Sweetser property. So she lives in the guest house with her children and 25 grandkids, apparently.
Supposedly, yeah. She has a gaggle of grandkids, which I didn't know until the trial. And that's, I'm trying to remember how that was framed to us.
How many kids does she have? Framed.
What, David?
How many kids does Christy have?
I want to say 6.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I remember when before Depp had Lily Rose or Jack, he was very into his nieces and nephews. Right. And there's pictures of him posing with them, various photo shoots where he was like, my nieces and nephews are everything to me. When he did Nick of Time, he goes, well, what do you base this Gene Watson character on? He goes, well, if anything ever happened to my niece or nephew, I'd do what Gene Watson did in Nick of Time. So that's how he supposedly, was getting into the mindset of a father, because he was years from having his first kid.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Photographs of Heard with a bruise on her face emerge now. Wright also wrote, the reports of violence started with a kick on a private plane. Then it was shoves. Then it was an occasional punch, until finally in December she described an all-out assault, and she woke up with her pillow covered in blood. And I know this because I went through their house, and I saw the pillow with my own eyes, and I saw the busted lip and the clumps of hair on the floor. 2 days later, Heard filed for divorce on the eve of Depp's mother's funeral. That summer, video was leaked to TMZ of Depp smashing cabinets and pouring himself a big gulp-sized glass of red wine. When he realized Heard was filming the incident, he appeared to grab her phone and trash it. The couple settled their divorce in August, filing a joint statement that partially read, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile."
David, do you know the Io Till It Right saga?
I saw them testify in the trial. I don't know if I know the saga.
Sara knows it really well. Tell him, Sara. It's about the one of the jealousy things is rooted to this.
A jealousy thing. What do you mean?
Depp feels that transgender Io Till It Right had an affair with Amber while they were together. That's just one of the reasons. And then she turned on, and then she had her as a witness during the thing. And then it seemed like the most valid. She also was involved in the phone call. Io Till It Right was in New York, and Amber Heard supposedly called Wright during one of the big dust up.
Oh, and Io is one of the two people that called 911.
Okay. She was communicating with the cops while they were supposedly fighting from New York.
Oh, okay.
But Io is the leech, and who was just leeching onto Amber Heard. So after he took the phone from Heard, he said, "She's yours now. Take her.
Yes.
I don't want her anymore."
Exactly right.
Okay.
But also, Io was doing a campaign about coming out and used Lily Rose, who was a minor at the time,
yes,
as the face of the campaign, and basically leaked via Twitter or Instagram that Lily Rose was on the LGBTQ spectrum. Lily Rose later had to say, "No, I'm not. I just wanted to be, support Io." So that's why Depp no longer speaks with Io Till It Right, other than the abuse.
Right. Okay.
Lily Rose did refer to herself as sexually fluid, though, at a certain point. So that gives off this kind of.
But later she had to clarify that she's a straight female.
Right. So this week she is. Until it benefits the career. And the thing is, like, it's weird with Depp. I mean, you could punch holes in hypocrisy all the time. It's okay for her to live with a 24-year-old at 15, but that's not okay to be used. It's always a jailbait scenario with her. And it's just a weird mess with them. But Sarah's absolutely right. I mean, that was the big. Depp was like, "Well, you didn't get my permission to use her in this campaign," and
she's a minor.
She's a minor, and right. But the whole France thing always qualifies the minor. Oh, well, in France, they don't really give a shit about any of the ages in the matter.
What soil are you doing this on, though? It's like...
Welcome, Gina Bobina. Gina likes to come in all the time at this time, like on the 18th, 17th hole of every Deppening.
I think Opie just ended his stream, so Gina.
I saw Gina in an Opie stream.
Gina's in every stream.
She's in every stream all at once. Ubiquitous. Forget the Jesus twins. Feel the ubiquity of Gina.
She's Jonathan Mendelsohn as a manager.
We will always promote Gina Bobina and the twins in every stream. And I'm not
paramount to our values.
Feel the ubiquity. Amber proves you take half the money and leave the opinion writing to the little people, says Johnny Babai. That's why. That's like Lily saying my dad didn't give me a job. I couldn't be anyone. It's my personality. Oh my God. Just own the Nepotism, Lily Rose. Just own it. We will have so much respect for you to say yes. My dad got into the business because of Nicolas Cage and cronyism, and I got into the business because of nepotism. Yes, my mom was the face of Chanel. My dad's an A-list icon for years and years and years. Yeah. I have no other options but to do this. I can't work at 7-Eleven like I did in Yoga Hosers. I have to do this modeling thing because it's really easy.
Also, like, if I ever get lucky enough to get like a big studio movie as a composer, it's because they like me more. You know, I mean, hopefully I do a good job, but it's because I've ingratiated myself well, or they think that I'm a good hang, or it is what it is, but it's just the way that you have to operate, you know?
And if your mom got you the gig, I think I know you well enough now. I think you'd admit that it was nepotism, and we'd have so much respect for you for saying that.
Yeah, I mean, whoever is the first major director to hire me will be the person that I credit my career to, because getting in the door is like 95% of any show business career. You know?
Depp's start is so fascinating because of the handoff from Jennifer Grey to Tracy Jacobs. That was such a
Right.
fascinating start. The Nicolas Cage stuff, and then you get to Tracy Jacobs like using Jennifer Grey as a prostitute. It's a crazy story,
Yeah.
which doesn't get nearly enough traction. I mean, Jennifer Grey didn't even bring it up in the interview we played last week in
Yeah.
how that really works. She wrote it in a book, but she didn't bring it up in the interview.
Isn't it weird when celebrities write these tell-all books, but then they'll get coy about the stuff they actually wrote about?
Yeah, they backpedal on it. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Maybe that makes you think it was ghostwritten and they had nothing to do with the actual scripting of it, you know?
Well, I think it's just that it's like, I don't want to be in my body saying these words to you and seeing your reaction. It's like, read the book, because then I don't have to actually face your
Well,
reaction.
that's so true, though. It's like anything else. Like a lot of times, like you're better writing stuff than you are. You won't. You know how people come off like way better as writers than they do in like someone like
Speaking.
again. I'm not going to even. He's horrible in both. Like Benji. Like
Yeah.
he's horrible. There's nobody worse on the air than Benji.
Right.
And yet we're
Yeah.
supposed to think he's this great writer behind the scenes. Forget about him. But some people just, when they have time to formulate their thoughts, like Sara, you're an internalizer, right? You're a great writer, and you're this demure minimalist sometimes when we speak. Like do you think you come across better as a writer than you do?
Absolutely. There's no question. I've known that since I could speak.
You're a phenomenal writer, like phenomenal. And you know, it lends to like if you had someone writing for you all day and you'd say the perfect thing at the perfect time. But that's what happens with these books. They have time to plot it for 2 years, and then they go, oh well, I'm not really like that in real life. I had time to strategize that paragraph and sit on it for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I can't possibly back it up verbally.
Yeah.
You know.
But that's the thing with like any of the Stern, like Sal and Richard too. It's like they're horrible on the air, and Gary, who hated them both, would always be like, no, but they create such great bits for us. And I was like, I don't believe that. I've heard their bits. They're not funny.
That's him. That's him shilling for Howard's shitty taste in writing and low ball, you know, hiring these shitty writers for no money. That's him trying to qualify Howard's bullshit excuse to have them on for cheap labor. You know, that's him, you know, being the fucking human shield. That's his job, is to take the hit.
But always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm. Heard received a reported $7 million in payment, which he then donated to charity, apparently. And they both signed non-disclosure agreements. Before I arrived, Waldman had instructed me that Depp couldn't speak about Heard because of this NDA. Heard's name was...
Sara, you remember that, right? The $7 million, that payment, that was supposed to be the end of it. You remember that, guys?
Yeah.
Like, that was it. That was going to go away with this, and they'd gone their separate ways. None of this the trial never would have happened. All that shit would never have hit the fan. But she wrote that article, and then Depp just got angry and shit started to come out. But
should the word donated be retracted for pledged?
Well, that's the first tryst with donated. I bet you that Depp's team had gone through this article and they took that word out and like let's hit her with this.
Naveed, how dare you? We use pledge and donate synonymously. Well, I don't, Miss Heard.
I love that.
Sara, when you saw this point in their life and their saga, did you think that was it? The 7, when he agreed to he really paid her out?
At this point, from the time that these accusations came out up through when the actual audio came out 3 years later, I was just hiding in a corner waiting for it to be over. I was not happy.
That was not happy. The prenup. That was the lack of prenup is why that money got thrown at her. Yeah. Everybody was just like, you don't have a prenup? What? That was a huge thing for like a couple of months. Like we're going, how does that idiot not have a prenup? Well, it came out that he wanted one and she just kept delaying it. Everybody was after. He can't be that stupid. No matter what drugs he's on and no matter what pussy fog he's in, there's no way in 2000 and back then, 14, 15, 16, he wasn't going to be, a prenup wasn't going to come up all the time.
I don't know if he thought every woman is like me, where I just want it out. And I was like, you take, nope, yours, you can have it. I'm gone. Bye. No, not every woman is me. That's, I'm sorry.
Johnny Bye-Bye thinks that Lily Rose should take Amber Heard's last name to get rid of the nepotism. Her stepmom. I wonder, I wonder how good their relationship. And you remember that text, right, guys? Where it's like, well, Daddy's been much better since you've come around because he wasn't there for us for 2 years, and that was like the big text that she likes to say, which I believe. I believe.
Yeah. I'm changing my name. I'm changing my name to Lily Rose Janko.
Hey, Sal Janko, if you're listening.
Lily Rose Polanski.
Oh God, Sarah. God. We should end it on that joke.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Front and center
All right.
that night in London because J.K. Rowling had released a statement in the wake of the Me Too movement explaining why she hadn't fired Depp from Fantastic Beasts. When Johnny Depp was cast as Grindelwald, I thought he'd be a wonderful guy in that role, Rowling said. However, around the time of filming his cameo in the first movie, stories had appeared in the press that deeply concerned me and everyone most close involved with the franchise. However, the agreements that have put into place to protect the privacy of two people, both of whom expressed a desire to get on with their lives, must be respected now. Based on our understanding, the circumstances, the filmmakers and I are not only comfortable sticking with our original casting, but are genuinely happy to have Johnny playing a major character in these movies. Later that night, Depp tells me about the acute depression he entered as his personal and financial lives came crashing down simultaneously. I was about as low as I believe I could have gotten. Says Depp in a dead voice. The next step was, you're going to arrive somewhere with your eyes open, and you're going to leave there with your eyes closed. And I couldn't take the pain every day.
Do you believe Depp's suicide teasings?
I do actually in this
innuendos?
case.
I think the fall from grace, whatever, the higher the climb, the mightier the fall, whatever the fuck that goes, is you couldn't been at the top of the world more than him, and that fall is as long a fall as it gets in show business.
Well, and I wonder if had he done like Pirates 5 by this point?
Yes.
Or okay, so I wonder if it's not only the fall from grace, but the what
Box
have I
office.
become doing, like the Alice in Wonderland sequel or
No, you're absolutely right. There's a text saying as much. Sarah, right? The Disney text with Nathan Holmes where he goes, my God, I can't believe I'm resorting to this Disney crap again. And that's a cash grab. So he's admitting that he's hating his own decisions in that. You're absolutely right. It's amazing you got that without even reading the transcripts.
But I could understand that, like, in addition to the financial setbacks, the things that got him to the financial position he was in before he fell were these things his younger self maybe wouldn't have respected.
No, of course not. You're absolutely right. I mean, if you told me in 1998 that Depp was going to be doing 5 Pirates movie, I would have clotheslined you. I would have headbutted you. I would have. There's no way. I mean, I would have gotten violently angry in like defending his integrity. I never would have thought he would be doing 5 Pirates movie or Alice in Wonderland, 2 Alice in Wonderlands, or anything of the sort. Transcendence or Mordecai or anything like that. I never would have. You're absolutely right. Johnny Bye Bye is on a roll. Suicide by Scarf. Oh my gosh.
Looking in the mirror wearing the scarf and it just shatters on him. Yeah.
And he brought up the J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts. You know the story behind that, David. He'd done Fantastic. He did a cameo and then he did Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald. So he gets signed for and it was the lowest performing Harry Potter movie of all time, and that kind of speaks to a lot of his waning box office. He had a lot of flops in a row on major franchises, and he got cast in the next one. He filmed like 2 days. All the shit goes down. They fire him from the movie. He issues a statement from Warner Brothers. He actually got paid his full fee on the movie. So,
oh my God,
I think was it 15 million, Sarah? He got?
Yeah, between 12 and 15
for 2 days filming.
Good God.
And that's that when you're at his level, you sign deals like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's hard to totally feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I feel I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I know enough to know that the Fantastic Beasts spinoff was kind of a going to be a failure anyway, just because it wasn't clear that it was associated with Harry Potter.
Yes.
I also think that Eddie Redmayne is just not, you know, like the Twilight girls are not going to be into Eddie Redmayne.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
And so and it's also just not like the fun, wouldn't it be amazing to go to a school for wizarding, you know, kind of thing. It's like way too dramatic. And
no, it got very comic booky, that version of it, right?
I mean, and that's not the appeal of the Harry Potter movies. It's this, you know, escapist, like what if I was a wizard student at Hogwarts kind of thing. You know, it's a different thing, and they just turned it into something that didn't work.
I think you really nailed it too. And I remember thinking this too, is like when you see, because I didn't know it, and I'm following this shit, like I'm really like fastidious about his career. I'm like, Fantastic Beast, and the first thing I said is exactly what you just said. I'm like, why is Harry Potter not at least italicized over the title? Right. I don't understand how that's even associated. Like, I didn't know. The novice is not going to know that's even a Harry Potter thing. How do you know that?
Yeah,
it's not clear when you look at it.
I think that if it's in that weird period of the 2010s where, like, you know, the 3 Hobbit movies came out. It's like before streaming limited series were a thing.
Yes.
So they're releasing these things as theatrically released movies, when it's like, if you had waited like 7 years, you would realize, just do it as like a mini series on Netflix, you know.
And I think a lot of franchises wish they did that.
Right, and Fantastic Beasts, I think, is one of them.
That's exact. I think you're spot on with that. It's amazing now what the budget looks like too on these streaming services.
Yeah,
I was watching She-Hulk the other day, and I'm going, I wonder what they spent on it. What are they spending on the streaming movies? It's completely in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's like, what are they spending on these streaming shows?
Right.
You never see the budget for it.
Well, and I think because it's, at least the way it works for the musicians union, like, because streaming shows are considered new media, they don't do residuals. So I wonder if that's the same for all the other guilds and unions, where it's like, it is cheaper to produce because it's a buyout. I'm sure it's, they can produce this many shows because it's a buyout, and I'm sure it's like a really low rate. So, yeah. But the audience is there, you know, so that's the quote trade-off.
That's a good G Canada goes, are the Twilight, this is pretty brilliant for a guy who doesn't follow pop culture. The Twilight girls the same as the Deptford Wives. Hold on, Germany is calling. I'm trying to get my lifetime travel ban lifted. If you're back. Yeah, they are similar, G Canada. It is the same ilk in a way. Yeah, it is a similar thing.
I picture the Deptford Wives as like Lisa G shut-ins, you know.
Yeah.
The Twilight girls are like, you know, they're just like teenage girls who were in love with, at the time, like Taylor Lautner or whoever was in the Twilight movies.
Robert Pattinson was in Waiting for the Barbarians with Depp.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie.
Right.
It's one of those weird movies that came out during his
I didn't get that far
cancellation. It's very boring. Waiting for the Adderall to kick in while you're watching it, because he doesn't show up till later in the movie. It is so boring. It is, and for lack of a better word, it is so slow. Even if you are a completely crazy Depp head, it takes a lot to engage that. It takes so much to sit through it. It's so slow. It's the slowest movie maybe he's ever done.
It's weird that Depp would be ashamed of 21 Jump Street, but he would do a cameo in one of the later Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
So right. I can pick some of the best Jump Street episodes, the time capsule ones, and put them up against, like, you're not embarrassed by Mordecai, but you're embarrassed by 21 Jump Street.
Right.
Like, there's so many, you could punch holes in that hypocrisy all over the place. Yeah. There's some stuff he's done in the last 10 years that are just like, I think it's Jump Street's better than fucking Dark Shadows.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Mean, it's easily.
It's confusing.
Oh, totally. Because it's that thing like, oh, I'm too cool for TV. Like TV's just beneath me, and it's so changed now. And then the Jump Street cameo he did in the movie, right? I mean, the movie is great. The Jump Street movie is a phenomenal tongue-in-cheek take in
It's
the same
great.
continuity.
I love it. Yeah.
And I think now they should. Holly Robinson. I don't know if you saw our show. Holly Robinson said they were talking about, she was going to play Captain Fuller in the reboot of it.
I was on that episode where she was
right,
talking
you
to
were
Ryan
on that,
Seacrest. Yeah.
right. And that's I thought Depp should do it. They both should be in it. They should play like dual captains on it. Because he could probably film it in like a few weeks and still have it look and just get all the redemption he wants.
I mean, talk about a cash grab,
Yes. And there'd be no way to do. How could they say no to him?
And it's more respectable.
Sarah, I'm going to say She-Hulk again, and you had the best eye roll gasp when I said She-Hulk, because Gunga didn't agree with me. So I said, I'm just going to say that I watched She-Hulk, and you go, oh, okay, ready? So I was watching She-Hulk the other day.
I quit. You will never hear from me again.
Then he goes on tour with the Hollywood Vampires. Decided to write a memoir on an old manual typewriter like his hero, Thompson. Poured myself a vodka in the morning, started writing until the tears filled my eyes, and I...
Yeah, I should say this. Depp's coming out with a book, supposedly. So in the next article we do, the GQ piece, the follow-up to this, retraction, would you call it, Sarah?
Yes.
He answers to this because he considered this a hit piece.
From his French villa.
Yes.
In a lawn chair looking over some vineyard view from his French villa, he sits with a reporter from GQ.
And they reveal in this article that he's writing a book. And the writer writes a good passage where he disappears to go to the bathroom. And he slips into a bedroom and he sees Depp's memoirs on the desk.
All right.
And he
on a computer.
steals a passage from the memoir, which I found fascinating, that Depp was writing about his childhood, that he took a baseball bat and started to wail against a palm tree in frustration over his parents. We deduced on our show that this is because he was told he was emancipated by his mom.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not revealed in the article, but Depp's mother, the emancipation story, right, with the private investigator. Right. I believe he found that out there, and all this stuff hit him, and he took a baseball bat out of his garage and started wailing on a palm tree in Miramar, Florida.
As a person, not in any way similar from what we heard at the trial, but from a person who comes from a family with a mother with emotional problems, you can easily go after any random argument, go out and go beat a tree with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the emancipation that caused him to do that. He
could
could
have
do
been
that once a day.
That's just my prediction. That I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're right. It could be anything, but I feel like either he got kicked out of his house to go live with his sister, or the emancipation thing hit.
As an introverted child who had to deal with a mother like that, that's what I have in common with him the most, other than he's really hot and I would sleep with him. I understand.
Very articulate.
I understand why that's the only way you can express, because you can't say it. So you got to go beat something with a baseball bat.
Yeah. Got to take it out on something.
Yes, Johnny, bye-bye. There's Amber's belittling 21 who gives a shit street. It's got to be everybody's favorite audio.
I was just thinking, though, too, that was like his chance, because that's, private audio at the time. I'm guessing, being completely honest with how he felt. He didn't say one bad thing about it. He didn't agree with her. He said, I was 26.
No, he actually goes, he does this. I'll give him, he actually exaggerated because he wanted to make it look. He goes, I was 20. I was 20, not 26. He goes,
okay.
I was 20. So when the show debuted, he was 23, and it ended, he was 26. So he shaves off 3 years to make it look like it was this teenage decision where he was.
My point, though, he didn't say anything. He didn't agree with her. He just, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's accepted it at this point.
Yeah. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. He launched the Fox network. Why are we acting like this is embarrassing? The show was great for the time. It was absolute garbage on TV when this came out. Name me a good drama that was out at the time. This show at least tried to take on. That's why I became a fan of it. So let's act like this show is some embarrassment. He launched the fucking Fox network. The guy
Imagine.
is the leadoff hitter. He's the Ricky Henderson of the Fox network in 19. There'd be no Fox TV without this show. It is an absolute badge of honor to be involved with this show. I'm sick of this shit.
Imagine if he's accepted it to such a degree, he agrees to come on with us and discuss season 3, episode 1.
9 toes out the door.
You'll have to scrape me up off the floor.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Couldn't see the page anymore. He says, he wipes his eyes with the sleeves of his white shirt and continues his monologue.
He kind of likes dark shadows.
I kept trying to figure out what I had done to deserve this, and I tried to be kind to everyone
That's
at
true.
all times, helping everyone, being truthful to everyone.
Now, if you're Depp, you have to doubt the karma police at that point exists, because if you do spend your life being kind to everybody from the key grip to the director in the same film, and taking the time to give money to homeless people and doing all these crazy charities and hospitals, you have to doubt the karma police, right? At this point, taking your life from you.
Yeah. I wonder if the one thing he had not confronted in his life was just the his taste in a mate, you know.
Yeah. Yep, that too.
And that this
being duped.
Right. Yeah. And
Pussy fun.
That could be a sort of late onset lesson that he had to learn about, you know, just because you're an attractive movie star, what kind of women are you actually going after? Although I assume Vanessa was probably really good for him. She was probably his best spouse.
I don't know if you watched the Deppis, David, but Vanessa won in a landslide about favorite. Yeah. Sara put a vote out, and she won best Depp broad, even beat Winona Ryder for exactly what you're saying.
Right. So maybe this is sort of that life lesson as a celebrity, you know, just I don't know.
Plus, I mean, Amber pulled a Donnie Brasco, a Tom Hansen on Depp himself. She basically went undercover as a as a admirer of his or kindred spirit with a fake biography.
My theory too is that he was bored by being domesticated for so long.
Totally.
That he went on a search for a Hellcat, and guess who took note?
Absolutely true.
So he got his own personal Wizard of Oz story where he learns that there's no place like home, and you know.
There's no question he cheated on Vanessa with her. There's no doubt in my mind.
The clip I pulled saying Vanessa was the winner was him talking about her. And you can totally tell that he is madly in love with Vanessa at the time that he was stopped on the red carpet and was talking about her.
Right.
Yeah. I still can't figure out how he went from that to what he ended up with.
Right.
I think you nailed it. He wanted a left turn Hellcat, undomesticated midlife crisis machine. That's exactly what happens. And
it's also the woman he had children with, which I wonder if that sort of demystifies her as a great romance or something, you know.
That's kind of what happened with Elvis and Priscilla too, if we want to go there.
Okay.
When she had the baby, I thought you
were going to say as a French albatross.
When she had the kid, the mystique was gone, and yeah.
No, and it's a boredom, and it's certainly, and then the old cliche goes about dudes, right? You're only as faithful as your options, and who has more options than this guy, right?
Yeah, but
every type of woman, everybody. I mean, every type. Thinking man's this, and weird Deptford wives. Everybody loves this guy,
right? And he met Amber when Lily was 11 or something, 12,
just about, yeah.
So you know, it's. I'm sure he's got this weird 7-year itch, being a father, even.
Yeah. And he's isolated in France. He's in France. He's not around anything, and he's once he gets out of there, it's like, holy shit, I have all these options.
I mean, this retribution that he describes seems to be less of a professional thing. I mean, I know there's professional things tied into it, but it's a personal life thing that he's facing a quote karmic realignment with,
Yep, karmic realignment. Very nice, David. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Johnny Bye Bye. If there's probably lost audio of Amber Heard with Depp's IMDb credits just rattling off everything that kind of failed and over and over again.
It would be funny if we found, like, in the Wayback Machine, like a Deppening podcast that Amber did in 2009.
Well, it's funny. With Sara and I have this theory that her and her Coachella con artist grifters used to sit around when he'd go on and shoot a movie for 3 or 4 months, and they would binge watch 21 Jump Street and get drunk and make fun of him the whole night. Like, watch 4 episodes in a row and just goof on him the whole time.
A future Johnny Depp grifter is going to be a Deppening Patreon member. They're going to get all the info from here.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear.
$2.
Yeah. And bring us along.
Pauses for a moment. The truth is the most important thing to me. And all this just still happened. I have a harder time getting an answer on how Christie had received $7 million in undercounted money and his assistant Nathan Holmes nearly $750,000. Depp describes Christie as being the Mandel's patsy. Without going further into detail, members of Depp's inner circle later tell me that Depp and Christie's relationship.
Give Rodrick credit where it's due. He's pressing him on his sister's money, which nobody else did, and he's not getting a straight answer. But that's hard hitting. This is hard hitting stuff. This is what hard hitting journalism is about.
Was badly damaged when he married Heard without a prenup. He cut himself off from the only people looking out for him. A longtime associate tells me. The former insider also maintained the idea that Depp didn't know his sister was receiving payments from his account, and that's ludicrous.
Johnny Bob goes, hey, Rupert Murdoch, we can book a Rupert Murdoch, casino Rupert Murdoch, and have him talk Fox and Depp. It's funny, Johnny, when I spoke to Stephen Cannell at a book signing in Manhattan in the early 2000s. He did a book, and I got up and asked him a bunch of Depp questions. The book was like a crime drama. It had nothing to do with his showbiz career, and I'm just asking him like a string of Depp questions. It was a pretty packed house too. It was West 81st Street and Broadway, Barnes and Noble, and he said so. Stephen Cannell is very, very gracious and smooth and handled the questions phenomenally. He said he thinks that the Fox entity and brand should send Depp millions of dollars of Christmas gifts every year for the appreciation of launching the network. He didn't take credit for it. He gave Depp the credit for it, for launching the Fox network, for being the face of him and Christina Applegate.
If you guys can get Rupert Murdoch, you can get Johnny Depp.
I think we have a better chance of getting Murdoch from the A-Team.
Yeah.
Depp also tells me that Holmes never really received a total of $750,000. He didn't get it all. Says Depp later. Waldman tells me that Depp was confused and that Holmes had received all that money. Both Holmes and Christie still work for Depp, with his sister running his production company, Infinitum Nihil.
So there you go, Sara. Christie's still working for him. The money is outstanding. She never was cut off. She's still there, and that's the connection of it. There you go. That's Rodrick connects the dots.
One of the central questions at the heart of the competing lawsuits will be the court deciding whether informing Christie of Depp's financial state is the same as telling as Depp himself. In TMG's quiver is an email submitted into evidence in which Christie told a Mandel associate not to bother her brother because she was a one-stop informational center for Depp. When Mandel tried to apply Christie's producer's share of back-end movie profits to pay down the loan, according to sources familiar with the transaction, Depp became furious and refused to allow it. Hardly the action of a man being bamboozled by his management company. It seems Depp's strategy is a classic Hollywood defense.
So this is where you could see Depp getting pissed at Stephen Rodrick, because it's basically saying, no, you're accountable for your own misappropriated finances. Right. You knew what was happening. So Rodrick lays it. He's doing some work there where he laid out, oh, no, you knew the money was taken. So why did you? You're not an innocent patsy, ignorant, this financial Luddite. You knew what was happening. And that's probably what pissed off Depp and Waldman, this is one of the many ways he pisses him off in this article.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention, and while I wasn't paying attention, the people supposedly paying attention robbed me blind. He tells me that to do justice to the assortment of eccentrics he played on film. He couldn't let the outside world intrude. Tim Burton told me of his role of Willy Wonka that was channeling one part Anna Wintour
Wow.
and one part
Oh.
Michael Jackson.
I say wow, not that I didn't know that. I knew that. I knew that I'm that he went at and looking for Tim Burton to do this article is what I'm wowing about. That
Yeah.
he's just talking to everybody.
Also,
Rolling Stones.
that movie was a year before Devil Wears Prada, so he was imitating Anna Wintour before Meryl Streep did.
Yeah, good one. I didn't even. That's a great timeline by you.
Yeah.
Huh. Leave it to you to bring up Devil Wears Prada.
And knowing the year of every movie. Yeah.
It's supposedly a really good movie. I actually
It's a
like
very
Anne
good movie.
Hathaway.
Very good.
I own it if you need me to mail it to you.
I like Anne Hathaway a lot. She's a great actress. She really is. She's the best part of the Nolan Batman movie, by the way. To me.
Emily Blunt is really good. I think it's her first movie, and she's really good in it too.
She's a good actress too. I agree with that. Totally.
If there were things for me to sign that would come in, and there would be occasionally, I would sign them like this. Says Depp, pantomiming, signing an imaginary paper with his right hand while his head is swiveled far to the left, staring into the London gloom. I don't want to be fucking seeing what they are because I trust these people. Later, he grimaces. Now, I look right at everything I sign. After my London visit, I obtained access to some of Depp's loan
Pt5.
agreements, including one for more than $10 million. The terms and amount of the loan were right there in the summary page that he just signed. Depp would have had to sign with his eyes closed to miss this.
Jesus.
It appears it will be up to others to bail out Johnny Depp, one of the most stopped before started. And the night.
Sarah, can you see how Depp's pissed at this article now?
Of course, yes.
Now it's every paragraph. He's going back him. Well, what did we do? This guy does. He's not a lemming. He's He's killing us. Could you imagine when this came out? They're reading it together.
They thought they were gonna get a puff piece, and they got
totally
an indictment.
That's why they chose him, because of Thompson and Rolling Stone.
Now that I qualify for AARP, I look at everything I sign.
Night of February 28th, 2017, Janine Rayburn received a courier letter from Michael Kump, TMG's primary lawyer. It read,
yeah, he was in the
I am
trial,
writing
Sarah,
to provide you with a copy of severance, release, and confidentiality non-disparagement agreement that you entered with TMG effective December 3rd, 2010. The letter did not arrive randomly. Rayburn is a former accountant manager for TMG and was tasked with handling Depp's finances. She was about to be disposed for the lawsuit. Kump's letter, with polite threat, was implying that testifying would violate her 2010 separation agreement with TMG. Rayburn was apparently undeterred.
G Canada loves karmic realignment, Debbie. He thinks that's why you invited back that phrase.
Yeah. For my Buddhist practices, that's why you.
I want to say to G Canada, stop being so hard on yourself. You were fine. You were great when you were on. You rolled with what we did. To this day, we have sound problems on Radio Gunk, so don't think for a second you're not invited back. We honor your ball busting humor and your shtick but there's just you're way too hard on yourself.
And gave a deposition 2 days later. Quickly, it became obvious why Kump wanted to quash a testimony. Rayburn had worked on the Depp account from 2008 to 2010, and she saw things that she claims were not on the level. According to a testimony, she says her concern was piqued when she was asked to notarize documents without Depp or Christie present, which is illegal in California. Rayburn took the documents back to Mandel's office and put them on his desk. I can't do this, Rayburn said she told Mandel. According to her, on one occasion, Mandel said that Christie would sign her notary log later, but Rayburn still refused. Mandel's lawyer denies this ever happened, and then he went on to extraordinary lengths to get Depp's signature while Depp was on set during the same time.
The weird thing is Depp's so aloof as it is. So he's hard to even just get in contact with, just because he just gets away with that kind of aloof, eccentric unaccountability, which is kind of cultivated over time. And Gina Bobina goes, I think I'm Depp. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be horrible with financials if I fancied myself an artist and I had to deal with the financial. I'm sure I'd be worse than he was. I agree with that 100%. But then, like, when you get him to sign stuff, it's even doubly hard because he's aloof, and now you need him to do it. It's time sensitive, right? So it's just like a big mess. Like, you never thought someone like him would ever be embroiled in something like this.
That's the worst feeling, to have to hurry up when it's like a dire situation and you're totally unqualified to address the mess. Yeah.
You have to trust the people around you.
Right.
That's why you hire your family.
Yeah.
Time period, Rayburn saw Christie's expenses being paid out of the Depp fund, her daughter's wedding, rent, mortgage payments. And on 2 occasions, she asked Christie to explain the seemingly unapproved expenditures. He's my brother. My money is his money. His money is mine. Christie answered, according to Rayburn's testimony. Rayburn said she asked Mandel about the odd Christie Depp situation, but he shrugged it off, trying to prove Rayburn's suggestion that some of Depp's financial signatures were sketchy. Waldman sent me 2 Depp signatures. One is for a 2010 loan purportedly signed to Depp while he was overseas. The signature is generic and subdued. Then Waldman sent me a more recent signature that is flamboyant and outlandish. They look superficially similar. Depp didn't agree. He wrote to Waldman, if one wanted to make the signature appear to have been done very quickly, as mine is, but in fact looks as if it's executed from careful study instead of organically. What I'm saying is that these shapes did not come from my hand.
Depp's a handwriting expert. What a crazy scenario. He's going to analyze the fonts of his own writing. I think for a while I was able to plagiarize a signature.
I think these shapes did not come from my hands turned into a Hollywood vampire song.
Well, Sara, what was the line from that Bredehoff quotes all the time?
What?
Was she made fun? Was she mocked at and tried to do that shit?
You will not see my eyes again.
And
but if you listen to the audio where he says that, he sounds really hot. Yes. You will not see my eyes again. But, oh.
We love you too, Gina Bobina.
During Rayburn's deposition, one of Depp's attorneys asked if Depp was kept in the loop about his spending. I do not believe that Johnny was aware of the financial situation, said Rayburn. To my knowledge, financial statements were not sent to him. Rayburn was then terminated from TMG in 2010, it wasn't a good fit. Still, she was asked to stay on 3 weeks longer and train her replacement. Baffled by the firing, she received $40,000 in severance package. Rayburn wrote 2 pages of contemporaneous notes to herself about her Depp's experiences, including, quote, Joel says JD is always drunk and will sign anything. Mandel's lawyers deny that he ever said anything about Depp's
believe he
drinking.
said that.
Depp's lawyers also produced an email from a Depp staffer recounting a time when Rayburn claimed Joel Mandel needed to confront Depp about his precarious situation, but got so nervous that he went home with the shingles. The staffer wrote that the residual payment from Disney saved.
I know I sound like an idiot here, a medical. I don't know what is the shingles. I've heard it all my life. I don't know what it is.
I think it's a nervous condition. My mother had it once.
Isn't it adult chickenpox?
Yeah, pretty much.
That? Yeah.
And it's brought upon by stress?
Primarily, I think.
Okay. I've heard it my whole life. I'd never understood what it is and
Chat
why
will correct me because I'm sure
they will. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I think it is an adult chickenpox almost. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So.
And it's brought upon by anxiety.
I guess I didn't know that was the cause. Yeah.
That's what they're implying anyway. I don't know if it's true, but
like everything else, it has a vaccine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mandel from having to have the conversation with his star client. A source close to Mandel claims he's never had the shingles.
G Canada thinks blowing weed have something to do with getting it. That could be. I don't know.
My friend, such a random story. My friend worked on the Vanessa Williams movie Dance With Me in the late 90s. And she was in the music department, and the composer on that movie was out of his mind, and she was his assistant, and she got shingles from that experience.
Holy shit. Okay.
It was just, he was going over budget, and it was a whole to-do. So,
I bet.
So yes, it does come from stress.
Sara knows Vanessa Williams from the first season of Melrose Place.
Yes, I know Vanessa L. Williams from the Party of Front class.
Yes. Have you ever heard the wolf cry in the blue corn moon?
Mandel's lawyers also went after Rayburn's credibility. She admitted that she just wasn't aware of Depp getting sent a monthly statement. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. To put this,
Crazy Robin says you break out and it's very painful. The vaccine is for 50-year-old plus people to take. Okay. Thank you, Crazy Robin. Everything medical, she's always on top of it. Thank you, Crazy Robin. We love having you back, as always, as usual.
Distance between her and Depp, Mandel's lawyer elicited Rayburn to admit she'd only talked to Depp twice, and that both times were about his eBay account.
Last thing on this. So G. Canada says it's dormant chicken pox.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It comes out once when you're older if you're unlucky. Thank you, G. Canada.
Mandel's legal team also noted that she misrepresented her educational background, professing she had a bachelor's degree in business when she did not. And that wasn't part of the TMG team.
Come on, who doesn't lie on their resume? Right?
Yeah, true.
We've all lied on our resume.
I've embellished, yeah.
I've lied. I've straight up lied.
I've told people on this show that I'm 650 years old, you know.
What do they say? Fake it till you make it?
Exactly.
Sarah, I know you've never told a lie because you always do the right thing. But
Not
I've
on a resume.
lied.
I've
We've
never
all lied.
needed to.
Well, now you can look everything up. It's much harder to do, but
I know.
I mean, fake it till you make it. If you really probed into everybody's, wasn't that Tom Hanks movie? Oh God, it's kind of fairly recent. That was the premise of it. He lied on a resume, and they found out about it. Harry something. Oh God, I forget. Larry Crown.
Oh yeah. With yeah.
That regularly briefed Depp on his finances. Still, Rayburn's testimony left a mark. The end of a day of testimony, Depp's lawyers requested more time. Kump declined and said if he wanted more time, they'd have to seek a court order that he would oppose. Rayburn was not deposed again. Part of Depp's suit claims that the Mandels are guilty of inside dealing. According to his legal team, the Mandels wired $1.5 million of Depp's money without telling him into Lionheart, a head
sanctimony though of Hollywood and the lying about the resume, like you would judge someone. It's like the whole industry are liars. Everything you lie about your looks, you lie about, you get plastics, the whole thing about you're lying about your height, you wear lifts, the whole cosmetic thing. The whole industry lies all the time, every time. It's show business. David's 650 years old. That's a vampire. That's a straight up lie. 458. G Canada thinks you're not 458. Not a day over 458 years old.
Hedge fund that, according to the SEC, is partially owned by the Mandels. Waldman claims TMG never disclosed that they own Lionheart. TMG asserts there were multiple conversations going on.
Ed White's
in 2008, the Mandels put the $1.5 million back in Depp's account with a minuscule profit of $32,000. Depp's return was a measly 0.3%. which the Mandel team says was because of Depp. And he's always cash poor. He needed the money and market was crashing due to the Great Recession.
Can you explain to me, guys, properly what the fuck cash poor? Monique says that every 5 seconds with Howard. There's no way I believe that about it. What does that mean
rich
exactly?
People say.
What is it? It's like
I've never had to worry about being cash poor or not being cash poor. I have a debit card. That's poor.
I wonder
you don't
if
have
it's
cash on hand or something.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's like all your money is tied up in bonds and investments, and you can't get at it. But so,
do you really believe someone would leave themselves like that?
Yes,
No.
people do all the time.
I don't know if I buy it. I hate cash pour as much as I hate gaslight the phrase.
Well, I mean, I wonder how much, like, Howard, for example, is like, does he err on? He strikes me as someone who errs on the side of like, I've got to put all of my money away for a rainy day because he's delusional and thinks he's going to live
till he's 700 years old. Right?
Exactly.
Your
right.
age, man.
So that would make him, quote, cash poor, I guess. But
he just doesn't handle cash because he's such a fucking insulated king baby, right? I mean, that's just a different thing. I don't think people have that. It's just like a thing people say to be reductive. It's like a way to bring down rich people. You want to make it look like there's a chance they're like you, so you say cash poor.
That could be it too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a way to get them to bring them down because you just
right.
I just hate it. I'm just check the check, right? Crazy Robin.
The chronic late payments of Depp's taxes are a black mark against TMG. I just had no clue. Says Depp in one of the few moments where he looks genuinely worried. If you're knowingly not paying the U.S. government taxes, somebody is going to fucking catch up with you.
That's not true.
And hand you a bill, and you'll probably go to the pokey for it.
Are you saying that's
While
not
the
true?
Mandels' claim was all about Depp's cash flow problem.
People get away with cheating on the taxes every day.
Yeah, and
all
not
the time,
for
every
long.
time. They all get away with it.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I guess you've never done it.
Miriam Fisher, a tax attorney first employed by TMG and later by Ed White, suggests TMG had two options: get their clients' finances in shape so he could pay on time, or borrow money from a commercial lender and not use the IRS as a bank. TMG had a lot of options, and they chose the worst one: make the IRS your creditor. The attention of Depp's suit has shined an unwelcome spotlight on TMG, which has always kept a low profile. The Wall Street Journal reported in August.
You think Depp playing Gene Watson in Nick of Time, who was an accountant, and would have solved all this, right? The research you do for Gene Watson would put you in the position to be on that. You'd think it would have stuck, right? Gene Watson was a great accountant.
Depp should have interviewed Melrose Larry Green for that role.
Did you know that, Sarah? Gene Watson was an accountant in Nick of Time. That was
the
bespectacled Depp.
Yeah,
August that both the SEC and the IRS were in the preliminary stage of investigating the Mandels on alleged money laundering and fraud. The Mandel legal team is convinced Waldman called the agencies on them. Waldman denies that claim. Whether these federal investigations will amount to anything is unknown. Nothing has emerged so far, but there was no doubt.
That's the Switzer property, right?
I'm not.
I think, Sarah, that's a Switzer property, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's where David was. David was on the outskirts of that. I think that road on the top of the picture.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Okay, that's probably Switzer.
That's Switzer.
In my next tour, I'm going to have my friend drive me so I can actually kind of go up that road a little bit. So I'll get.
I think it'll be okay if you hop the fence. I think it'll be okay and get us.
I think that'd be fine. Yeah,
inside the gate. Yeah, no problem.
Well, if Stephen Rodrick can hop Depp's fence to leave, why can't David hop Depp's fence to come in?
Right. Yeah.
Who the Mandels blame for their troubles? Johnny Depp. TMG's lawyers released a statement. In 30 years of business, no current or former client of TMG has raised any issue other than Johnny Depp, who continues to spread malicious, unfounded lies about the company. TMG will vigorously defend and defeat all of Depp's fabricated claims. On the third day, I go back to my hotel room for a hot shower and a change of clothes before returning to the mansion.
Depp would love having me researching him. I would have taken like 5 showers at his house in the middle of the whole thing. I would have just like, anytime I didn't feel good about myself, I would have been like, I'm taking a shower. He's like, really? Oh, well,
That's funny.
We use
You want to
Evian.
continue this interview in the shower? Or what? Well, that would be with
You
me.
probably would
Sorry.
say that.
I've never felt so comfortable with an interviewer, Mr. Rodrick.
I don't use Adderall like you do, and Wellbutrin. I use showers.
And
5
Mr.
times
Depp,
a
can
day.
you shower while I interview you? And I can watch while the water runs off of body parts.
The
and-
first time I
Cascades
use
off your
soap.
skin.
The second one I just jump in for 90 seconds. Then I use soap. Then I jump in. Then I use. That's true. I take 4 showers a day. I'm not even
Oh my
kidding.
gosh.
Send
'Cause
me a
I'm
video and I'll believe you.
My imposter complex and low self-esteem. It's the only way I can get through life.
Oh, John.
What's the word for cardio? Endorphin rushes and showers. That's how I get through
Yeah.
life. That's my title of my book.
You should have just stayed here, says Depp when I tell him I needed to change my underwear. He grins.
Oh,
Well, that's why I always wear 2 pairs, says Depp with a smile. Matter of fact, I'm wearing 6 condoms right now.
prove it.
Okay, he stole that joke. He stole that joke from Dennis Miller. I
Well,
swear
he
to
also
God.
said that to Nathan, I think, in a text message about Amber
Yes.
Heard.
There's a Dennis Miller joke when he was funny back when in an
Yeah.
old stand-up he did. He goes, I don't see what everybody's problem with the condom is. Huh? I wear 2 in my everyday life. I go to fucking take one off. I feel like a wild man. Huh? It's like swinging 2 bats in the
I don't need that
on-deck circle.
visual.
Yeah.
He definitely took that from Dennis.
Depp
I
loves,
laugh, which seemingly
What did you?
Sorry. I feel like in the time that I've been listening to the Deppening, I feel like there's a lot of underwear jokes with Depp too.
Yes, he loves underwear jokes.
Yeah.
Well, how about burning the underwear on the set of 21 Jump Street when to rebel against the scripts?
Yeah, or like on the
sense.
Howard interview, he says he gets paid. They give me a new change of underwear or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
good
Right.
callback, David. Exactly right. That's a great thing you stumbled on. The underwear monofilament running through all Depp's interviews.
Yeah.
encourages him.
Michael Frazia, welcome, sir. David is very good peeps, and so are you, sir. Thank
Oh.
you for chiming in and all the comments after when you listen to it. Smithtown's finest. We just sang the Growing Pains theme song from Smithtown, Michael. I'm glad you're here. Show me that smile again.
I also have a dental dam if you need one. We're all so punch drunk in
Don't
each
need one
other's
with me,
company,
Johnny.
but some are just plain drunk. Maybe it's the booze and the hash, but Depp seems happy to just have someone to hang out with. Even though we have exhausted the ins and outs of his case, someone mentions they can't stand Oasis.
Oh,
This is
wow.
enough of an opening for Depp to grab an acoustic guitar and spend 20 minutes tuning it before squawking out a few notes of Wonderwall.
This is when
That's
they're
really
reading
funny.
it and they're going, "Oh my god, he's writing about that." They had no idea what they were getting themselves into.
I love that Depp wasn't maybe offended until he spent 20 minutes tuning a guitar. Like, I know how to play a guitar.
You know about his history with Oasis? David? I don't know if you
don't.
heard us. Okay, I was telling Bon Jovi this last time he was on. Depp was in the when he you know how he collects rock stars like action figures.
Right.
One of the things, this is like in the early '90s. He was somehow through Kate Moss, became friends with them. Sarah, did you say that she dated one of the guys, Liam Gallagher or something?
I don't think she dated Liam. She dated Pete Doherty after Johnny Depp, but I can imagine Pete Doherty was in that group.
Yeah, that's got to be how they met him. And so he was supposedly playing slide guitar is very difficult. So for a very brief time, he was in rotation with Oasis, and he was friends with them. He did a vacation together, playing slide guitar in one of Oasis albums.
That's so strange.
I try to sing Depp singing Wonderwall at the end of this podcast.
If we ever get
From
through this
Oasis.
Rolling Stone, you can.
My head pounds, but you can tell the guitar brings him comfort now, taking him back to his younger days when he was a male ingenue, and not a punchline, bankrupt, isolated, and one more mistake away from being blackballed
Ouch.
by his industry. He talks about his early days with a few roommates in L.A., a flop house.
Yeah, this is a great story. This is a great story. Listen to this.
Okay.
Ending the previous night in a cheap Venice Beach motel. Depp returned home within 48 hours. Everyone was scratching below the belt. There was an apartment meeting. We're itchy. Why are we itchy? Depp shaved his entire body. He looked at the crabs under a magnifying glass. They look like crabs, like from the sea. He laughs a bit. I gave everyone scabies. Says Depp, taking another drag from his cigarette. You know how hard it is for you to tell your roommates that? He puts on a voice that sounds like Kramer from Seinfeld. Oh, I got scabies from a hotel room, I swear. Sorry, dude. He recalls going to the drugstore to buy Quell, an anti-scabies medication. I think the guy was like, price check on Quell. Everyone laughs, but Depp isn't done. My roommate couldn't say much. He was a bank robber. I say that sounds like bullshit, but Depp tells me to look it up. He was the ponytail bandit. He says he was 11 and 1, but that one will get you. He only robbed banks in Beverly Hills. So I looked it up on my phone, and there was, in fact, a ponytail bandit in L.A. at the time. Depp nods after I show him the confirmation. I told you. He says, I don't know. I don't lie. The night turns into early morning.
How crazy is that? He had a roommate who's a bank robber.
God.
I've read every article on him from '87 to now. I've never seen that. I would have thought he'd been humble bragging about that to bring it up. That is a crazy. We got to look this guy up. The ponytail bank robber. That is a crazy story.
We should get him on the show.
It's not ridiculous these days, right?
He's probably out on good behavior.
He might still be in prison if he robbed a bank, though.
Oh, fair, yeah.
Who's a better bank robber? Depp is John Dillinger and Public Enemies, or this guy? What do you think?
Well, this guy's probably still alive, so I'm going to say this guy.
I'll take video footage of me like on a phone with that glass divider between us, like interviewing him about Depp.
Hello, Mr. Ponytail Bandit. I have a few questions.
You want to hear how crazy? I can't. I'm going to have to reveal this. I'm sorry. I'm in it. I got to say it. I almost visited George Young in Otisville, in Blow, in the early 2000s when I found out he was up there. I almost took a trip out there and visited him.
I believe
I didn't do it though. I don't know what stopped me.
Yeah.
I just forgot about it, but I almost hoping to get dirt about. I don't know what I was gonna do with it. I actually read the Blow book before I saw the movie.
Okay.
The book, as the story goes, is Dennis Leary passed the book off to Ted Demme, the director who passed away ironically from a cocaine overdose in a charity basketball game, and that's how the movie got made. They knew each other from MTV. Remember Dennis Leary used to do the smoking MTV campaigns with Cindy Crawford? Ted Demme directed those, and that's how they started a friendship.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Ted Demme's also from Howard's hometown, Rockville Center, I should say.
Did Dennis Leary throw the book at Greg Giraldo and Colin Quinn show?
That's a good Tough Crowd reference, David. Yeah, Dennis. That's kind of what we do here. We're comedy writers. Yeah.
Light snow begins falling on the grand backyard of the house. A grand backyard that no one in Depp's entourage has even set foot in during their stay. This spring showed Depp's legal team in disarray. In April, the team gave notice that it was quitting, and an obscure Orange County firm was taking its place. 3 weeks later, Ben Chu, Depp's chief litigator, reemerged and signed.
This is the first mention of Ben Chu in the history. Everybody knows him now from the Fairfax trial. This is the first time. I didn't really pay attention. Like, it didn't register with me how big he would become in the Fairfax trial. But this is the first. This is when they recruit him, and Adam Waldman does so. This article is amazing.
Yeah.
Back up with Waldman. Adding to his troubles, Depp is being sued by his American bodyguards for back wages, and they have alleged that Depp had to alert to illegal.
You know about this, David? Sara knows about this lawsuit. It's one of Depp's many lawsuits. He had a gaggle of two bodyguards.
Okay.
And you see them in old foot. They're accompanying Lily Rose and Jack through security in the airport in LAX. There's a shot of that one of the guys. and they sued Depp for making him transport cocaine for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Like,
remember that
putting them
footage
in
of.
jeopardy.
I remember like you showed like paparazzi footage of Lily and Jack Depp at LAX or something. Was it that time?
That's
or
one of the guys. So you saw security during the Fairfax trial. That's a guy who wasn't there. That guy is no longer with him. That he sued him, and another guy sued Depp for public endangerment or something because they transported cocaine for him unknowingly. Apparently he had it on his nose too at the time.
Jesus.
And they were just like, they were putting themselves, I don't know if they were retroactively said, oh, wait a minute, we can get him for this. Like, they didn't care at the time. And then I don't know, but that got settled, I think, and I haven't heard from it since. Very similar to that Rocky Brooks thing from City of Lies, the set.
Substances.
Same time period.
Visible on Depp's face and person when in public. After many delays, Depp finally sat for a deposition on May 26th. The trial is still scheduled for August. What happens next is anyone's guess. The wild card, though, is Christie. She's made no public statements about the dispute, and neither party has accused her of wrongdoing. But the crux of the dispute may hang on how much power Depp gave her over his own finances. Legal experts say the lawsuit could cost Depp millions in legal fees, and his chance of recouping that at the trial seems dubious. Waldman kept floating alternate theories involving Malaysian banks, a Hollywood super agent, and Mideast investors. Nothing has been substantiated. Maybe he'll pull it off at the trial. Depp spent Christmas in France, the winter in Bahamas, and much of the spring in his Hollywood estate. He never did sell Hamau or any of his other properties. He seems unlikely to compromise or admit defeat in any way. I've never, ever in my life been the bully kid. Depp tells me, I never went out of my way to hurt anyone. When I was a little kid, what I was taught was never fucking start a fight. But if somebody fucking tags you or invades your fucking world, finish the fucking fight. To my mom's exact words, lay them out with a fucking brick.
See, this is what Amber Heard wanted to use during the physical abuse thing. I think was somewhat stopped, but that's, even if that has nothing to do with abusing females, they were going to use it. Oh, look, his every impulse is violence and hitting back.
Right.
They were going to throw that shit in his face, and they did in the UK trial.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean, that quote's been around since the Stone Age, since I've been reading shit on him. He likes to brag about how his mom would give him fighting advice on the playground. And that's his advice. Take a brick.
Because he's a tough Southern boy. Right.
And all the masonry shrapnel that's around schoolyards, right? There's bricks all over the place for kids to use capriciously, right? There's always a cement block for you to hit a kid with, no matter what, especially in Miramar.
Yeah.
Says the fight is now for his children, Jack and Lily Rose, a Chanel model. My son had to hear about how his old man had lost all his money from kids at school. That's not right. Says Depp. He rubs his eyes with his tobacco-stained hands.
Yeah.
He says one of the proudest moments of his life was when Jack said he'd started a band, and Depp asked what they were called, and the kid, as Depp says, the kid says clown boner. Depp smiles proudly. No, we don't need a paternity test now. That's my kid. Depp rambles on about what he wants to do as soon as the lawsuits are settled, and he says he's vindicated. There's a French book he wants to adapt and direct. It's about a man who loses his wife, loses everything, and then
you should have seen me roll my eyes when I originally read this in the French book. Like I'm like, God, fucker, this is what you're gonna go to. As soon as just this French book, it just made me roll
French
my
book
eyes.
just right away.
Like, pass.
Yeah.
This is my rehab of his career. I would shut that down immediately.
A light blue haze is over the film at all times the minute I see French book.
And checks into a senior citizen home, even though he's only in his 40s.
Oh, God.
It's called Happier Days, Depp tells me. This is not to be confused with Keith Richards' documentary that Depp says he's halfway done with, which is tentatively called just Happy. From there, it's a short jump to musing about a remake of Titanic filmed entirely in a bathtub. Oh my God, that would be great. But Hollywood never takes risks anymore. Says Depp with a sigh. I want to go home now, but I feel reluctant to leave. One of the most famous actors in the world is now smoking dope with a writer and his lawyer while his...
Is dope
marijuana.
marijuana, or is it heroin?
It's not crack. They're not smoking crack. They're smoking marijuana.
Remember when they used to say dope? It meant like something stronger than marijuana.
They wanted marijuana to sound scary.
Okay.
So they called marijuana dope in most cases.
I'm sure G Canada's cackling right now. My rube drug knowledge.
Your lack of testicular provenance.
What a callback by you. Now you're quoting G Canada with testicular. He loves that should be his new nickname. Should change his name to Testicular Providence. And province is a Canada.
Oh, he got
state,
you.
And it's just
there
perfect.
it is.
I can't believe you remember that. That's so funny. Crazy Robin, thank you, Crazy Robin. Dope used to mean hardcore drugs. Coming up. Thank you, Crazy Robin.
May I make a drug PSA announcement, please? As somebody who lives in Oregon, where possession is now legal for any drug, you cannot be arrested for possessing a drug.
You were in Ground Zero too, but
the war on drug.
Go ahead, go.
After seeing what legalizing drugs has done to my state in the last few years or last year or so, I believe in Nancy Reagan again. She had something. She knew something when she said, just say no. And we needed a war on drugs. You guys don't understand until you see it in front of you, how it decimates cities and towns. It's horrifying what legal drug use.
Well, you know who was involved in the campaign with Nancy Reagan, right?
Yes, I do.
Who?
Mr. John Christopher Depp II.
During 21 Jump Street. Yes, there's shots of them visiting the White House. Dope. And then he shits on his own campaign during that's so funny
exactly.
You said that. You know who else was involved in the Don't Just Say No campaign? June 9th fame.
Most drug users in the 80s were.
Wayman Tisdale.
Okay.
The left-handed.
No, I would never have guessed that.
There is a shot of him and Charles Barkley hoisting Nancy Reagan up to dunk a basketball in Market Square Arena.
Yeah.
In 1988.
Copperfield while she was up there.
yes. It's so great. The June 9th, the band, the June 9th just gets better and better. Depp on lead, Tisdale on bass guitar, Natalie Portman singing, and Michael J. Fox on drums. One to grow on, Gunga Din, says Sara from NBC.
Ding, ding, ding.
Saturday morning
as
cartoons.
A star shoots across the screen.
Speaking of Saturday morning cartoons, I like to tell everybody that I had this week, I'm having trouble eating, so I had a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, and I had a huge bowl of Boo Berry. True story. Because nothing was agreeing with me.
You're so weird.
Two of my old favorite cereals.
Oh my God.
And it really worked. It really went down. I missed those sugar cereals.
Yeah.
And it really worked. They shoot those things with vitamins, by the way. If you read the nutritional table on the side, it's like B12 and
oh yeah, it's just great for you.
all
those dyes seeping into your system from the Fruity Pebbles are just great.
I feel like the FDA released something where they said Lucky Charms was healthier than like a steak.
It is. Like... No, it's true. It is. It absolutely
crazy to me.
Exactly you want to know what's disgusting? I have a box of Lucky Charms in the cupboard. I opened it once and I didn't open it. I didn't even look at it again for another month. The marshmallows puff out when they get stale.
Oh.
And the crunchy parts, actually my favorite is the crunchy parts.
Yeah.
Those turn to rubber. I even ate a marshmallow to see if it tasted. I almost threw up.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna buy Lucky Charms, you have to eat it immediately. Okay. That's another more you know moment.
That's very more you know. G Canada, thank you. You're both correct. Usually dope is marijuana, but it's also been used to refer to heroin in the past. I knew I was. Thank you, G Canada. And Crazy Robin loves Boo Berry. We're almost done with this.
Cook makes dinner and bodyguards watch TV. There's no one around him who is not getting paid. Light begins to seep through the windows. Waldman goes to sleep. He has an early flight to Switzerland and to go cross-country skiing with Oleg.
Waldman's life is great. The Russian connection is crazy. It didn't even occur to me when I read this originally. His ties to Putin and stuff. It's bizarre. It's a weird guy. Life.
The Repska. I see this as an opening to leave. Depp looks for a security guard to call me a cab, but his knocking goes unanswered, so he walks me out. Hey, thanks for coming. Says Depp, this could easily be your Pulitzer. For the next 15 minutes, Depp tries to figure out how to open the gates to his own mansion fortress. He clicks buttons and pushes the fence, but nothing budges. He is a lost boy who won't find his way home before dark. I finally tell him I can shimmy over the fence. I clamber over and jump down. Through the bars, we say goodnight. Hey, take care, man. He says. He goes silent for a moment, and then, hey, thank you for listening, at least. He turns around and walks back to his gilded prison and pushes open the heavy door. After a moment, it slams shut behind him.
That's a sharp note to end on.
It's so bizarre. Well, a charming Depp just goes. How do you eviscerate him after he says that to you? Hey, thanks for listening, man.
I know.
He just goes back and eviscerates him. You can see why he reacted so violently to this piece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff. By the way, I should say this. We brought up Titanic a few times. You guys all know, right? Depp turned Titanic down.
Right.
Yeah, from the Howard actually got that at him. I'd not heard that until that interview.
Well, and I still love my idea that it had it been made a couple years later, he could have taken the Billy Zane role.
Yes, that's a great
idea. I would
idea.
love to see him in that. Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind him. You know Victor Newman from Young and the Restless?
Yeah.
The actor that played him? He was the older guy, the older rich guy, John whatever. I forget the real guy's name. He could have played him too. And he would have been great. A 5-minute role.
The exchange goes, Howard goes, John, just tell me something you turned down. He's like, well, it wouldn't be fair for me to say. He's like, no, you could tell me. And then so Depp just gave him what he wanted. And he goes, well, you know what? I labored through. I couldn't about 15 pages of Titanic, and I was sweating and the whole thing, and I couldn't get through it. And then Howard acts like he didn't jerk off too. He's like, it was horrible. It was horrible. He's like yeah, I just couldn't get through it. I had not known that. I'd known virtually everything I thought. Later on, I found out he turned down like Matrix, Wolverine.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Thank God.
But
no, Wolverine's great. I disagree.
I can't see Depp. I don't see Depp playing Wolverine.
He's age. Wolverine's supposed to be like 100, like David's age. So like you don't. He easily could have played Wolverine. Remember his sideburns in Blow? I think he would have been great as Logan. I really do. I wish he did it.
Nothing against Depp's body type, because in that tattoo parlor video, fucking hot with that dad bod. But I can't see him getting up to like a Hugh Jackman level of beef. I can't.
That's what I want to see him try to do. That. I mean, if he's such a chameleon, I want to see him morph into what Wolverine looks like. I want to see the physicality of that role. I really do. I really wish he would have done that.
I just think he's better than that. I don't know.
Wolverine's a great. How many X-Men movies have you seen?
It's Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman's great as Wolverine. He's I like Hugh Jackman is great, and he's too tall for the actual Logan, but he's does as good a job at Wolverine as he could possibly do.
But by the way, Arm, was that Howard interview? That was 99, right?
No, 2001. October.
2001.
Artie that's what got Artie hired.
Right after 9/11.
That's right. I wonder if his Titanic comments were because he saw Woody Allen's Celebrity and had an axe to grind with Leo DiCaprio.
Good call, David. It's after that. It's a little bit after that. It's really like right about a couple of months after that came out, or about a year. That's a good call by you. I'm going to connect those dots.
Because we were talking about his disdain, his weird nebulous neutrality or disdain about Leonardo DiCaprio.
There's something going on with those two. I really don't think and I think as time has gone on, and I really think that Woody Allen thing shook him. I really do. I think absolutely right.
That's a slick move to criticize the script and not Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. Like it's, in theory, the performance.
You're not naming him by name, right? Crazy Robin. I don't eat cereal anymore either, but I was looking for something neutral, and I was there, and I couldn't help
Liar.
it, and I had a lot of it. Frankenberry. I bought a box of Frankenberry too. Crazy. It's funny you say that. I have Blueberry and Frankenberry. I believe, was there a mummy cereal in that mix too?
There was a werewolf for
Count
5
Chocula.
minutes.
Yeah, there's a werewolf. I forget what that was
Yeah.
called. Count
Chocula.
Wolfenberry.
Count
or something?
Chocula's the best
Yep.
Yeah.
out of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a man after Beth's heart.
I know, right? I actually eat it. Yeah, Crazy Robin, the X-Men animated series is that. By the way, Crazy Robin, getting back to Depp and the X-Men animated series, that was one of that really popularized Fox's attempt at Saturday morning, right? When Batman and X-Men came out on their Saturday morning. It was only CBS, ABC, and NBC that had Saturday morning cartoons. When Fox came out with that explosion in the early 90s, X-Men was huge. And there'd be no X-Men without 21 Jump Street, I should say. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining us. David, you're brilliant as usual. I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm so glad you're available. Happy birthday, Mrs.
Of
David,
course.
Mommy David.
Yes.
I'll be in touch with you very soon about a 90210.
Yeah, no, that'll be, and as I said, I'm gonna sometime in February get some new tour footage, so that would be a fun Patreon thing to do.
And then Sweeney Todd.
Yes.
So you got all the plugs in, Sarah?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, this is good.
Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I love you all. Thank you so much for hanging. Great to have our Crazy Robin back, as usual. This is Depp singing this out with Wonderwall.
Oh,
no. Today's gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you've got to do. I don't believe that anyone feels the way I do about you now. Because maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my Wonderwall.
Sit down. Stay where you are. For the first time, I choose to walk out on you.
Jump.